so I can kind of keep up with what's going on and maybe rewind if I have to. So occasionally something will be happening. I'm like, I got to swap these games.
I watched very little of the weekday games this year. The schedule was so slate. Friday nights were the best nights. I didn't watch a lot of Thursday.
We've killed Thursday night because of the NFL.
Didn't watch a lot of the MACtion or the Sun Belt games during the week. It was a weird year in college football.
I liked it. I thought it was a fun year.
One I enjoyed, though, and we get one more game tonight. We'll talk to Brock Heward about that coming up in our next segment. Brock will join us in a little overtime live from Houston. So this will be a live bonus segment coming up. Thank you so much to our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Quick little blip here, and then we'll reset the table. This is the next round. God bless you. God bless America.
Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Clay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
A lot of rain in our area last night. Raining confetti in Houston, the maize and blue color, as Michigan wins the national championship. They do it doing what they do best, running the football, a college football playoff record, as they go for 303 yards rushing. A couple of big runs early on set the tone for the day, and as the confetti fell, every piece of confetti telling its own little story, says Jim Harbaugh. Michigan wins the national championship, their first since 1997. Welcome into the show live. We are 228 days away from week 0 of the college football season. 228 as we get ready to count down to the next kickoff. But here's Michigan, the long journey of Jim Harbaugh bringing Michigan back to dominance, and it finally happened.
Well, look, it was a dominant performance, and I think what you've got to say now, a lot of people discounted Michigan because they were playing in the Big Ten and they weren't playing powerful offenses, but I think it's pretty evident now that Michigan is the best team in college football. And, the tables have turned on us a little bit. We used to get really bad semifinals. Now we get good semifinals, and we get bad championship games. And much like last year where the national championship was won in the semifinals between Ohio State and Georgia, that happened in the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
I think, the same thing. If Alabama beats Michigan, they probably go on and beat Washington. Penix was just off.
Yeah, I mean, I clearly the best team came out of the Rose Bowl, whether it was Alabama or Michigan. I think either team would have beaten Washington, and that was Penix's worst performance. You're right. I don't know if it was defensive related, if it was pressure related, if it was, he got hit a lot, if there might have been a hidden injury there.
Great defense, and I see what Dunaway's about to jump in, but that pressure.
All of that put together, I think, played a role.
O'Dunsey, when he was wide open on the 4th and 7 at 17-3, I mean, I don't know how he missed
That's
it.
a walk-in.
He had to throw it because of the pressure. He's having to.
Well, he's throwing it on the
faster.
run. Yeah, he was throwing it on the run.
Never had
and
his
he just
feet
never
planted.
got his feet set.
I get it, but it was an awful throw.
No, it's an awful throw,
was.
and that's a throw he makes in a regular season game. I think the pressure had something to do with it too.
Yeah,
I don't think he was, he was ready for that stage quite yet.
I don't know, man. He made those throws under pressure last week against Texas.
Oh, he did because he didn't have the same pressure that on him as the guy was under distress all night long, and they did it with 4 men rushing. Unlike when they played Alabama, they had to bring that 5th guy all the time, and Alabama's receivers just weren't good enough to get open in the time that Milroe had. Last night, 4 people rushing. They were able to create that pressure, which allowed them to play zone to help cover up the great Washington receivers. If they'd had to bring that 5th guy all night long, I think Washington would have won the football game. Those front 4 for Michigan dictated that game, and that was what was the difference. In my opinion.
Well, I'm
Penix
just saying, going back to last week, he saw this pressure, and he made amazing throws where receivers were covered. I'm just saying there were some open shots last night. Look, I didn't enjoy the game. I had Michigan and under at Lance'sLock.com. We were 3-0 last night, which was great. But, it wasn't a fun game to watch.
Because one of your plays was Corum rush yards, right? I mean, that thing was over early, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, you go for...
Well, Donovan Edwards took a lot of them.
Well, he took 2 of my carries, but you go for 229 in the first quarter, averaging over 19 yards per carry, and then you basically go away from it.
I couldn't believe that.
I thought the key moment was going to be when they're up 17-3 with about 4:46, I think, in the second half. They're on the 38. They call the timeout. They couldn't decide whether or not to punt. I agree, go for it in that situation, but you got to run the football. 4th and 2.5, and they throw the football. Then Penix takes them right down. They score on 4th down at 17-10,
and you're
getting the ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, what have they done? They've let them back in this game.
My brother and my dad and I have a group text that goes in any game. It goes through all the football season. Any game that we know we're all watching, we're group texting about, right? And when that game started the way it started, the whole group text was like, this is going to be a bloodbath. Like, Washington has no answer. And I even at one point said, you might have seen McCarthy throw his last pass in the first quarter. Jim Harbaugh will not go away from the run. This guy is stubborn. He will run it all night.
Well, you
and
heard
then he went away from the run.
Brock Heward yesterday, Washington grad, was like, I'm afraid they might come out and run it 15 straight times.
I don't know why they didn't.
Should have.
I don't know why they went away from the run. They were dominating with the run.
Now,
game.
I will give them credit in the second half. They did adjust to the run.
Well, I thought they did it in the second quarter where they held them to 35 yards. They were forcing them to throw the ball a little bit with the way they were stacking the box. But unbelievable game for Michigan. Let's get some reaction and then talk more about the game. Brown's going to get your comments over in the chat room so you can be part of the show today, as we always like to include you. Rockstar, let's go cut 3 first. It's quarterback J.J. McCarthy, who don't call him a game manager because most people still project him as a first-round draft pick, right?
Oh, yeah. And the kid, say what you want. He had to make some throws against Alabama. We talked about that one throw on the goal line against Ohio State. He made one of those throws last night to Roman Wilson. Was unbelievable. So he's got great accuracy in spots. See his upside. The scramble was huge, too.
He threw a couple that were spot-on hard throws right on the money that got
dropped. Yeah.
There were more drops in that game
But
last
how
night.
big was that scramble for him on third down?
It was
and
tremendous.
He showed his speed right up the gut.
Coming off the goal line, too. They were pinned down.
Yeah, this guy played great football. The numbers, like a lot of great quarterbacks in championship games, won't blow you away. But he did what he had to do for his team to win the game, and J.J. McCarthy sort of sums up being national champions.
We came a long way, but in order to accomplish things like this, you got to go to those, dark places where everything's not great. And, just the response, the urgency right after that last game last year, it was different. I knew it, just from being on the podium last year and saying that we'll be back. I knew the guys that were coming back, and I had this feeling that it was going to be where we are right now. And, just all credit goes to, the players on this team, everybody in that facility, Coach Harbaugh. Like, that man, he's the reason we're here today. So just all thanks to him and to everybody on the team.
Thanks be to Harbaugh, according to J.J. McCarthy. Blake Corum, about a year ago at a home basketball game at Michigan, walked out. They gave him the microphone, and he announced he was coming back to school, and he was coming back to win the national championship. 1 year later, both McCarthy and Corum make good on their promise.
This seems like one of those deals, almost like your Bucks going all in with Tom Brady, the Rams going all in with Stafford. This was like a true build for the last 4 or 5 years with Harbaugh, and keeping all of these guys engaged, keeping them all in the program. They all bought in. Michigan's going to have a drop-off next year. They probably lose 2-3 games in the regular season. But it was all about this year. And so I give them a ton of credit. They all did buy in, and Blake Corum, it's a fun guy to watch.
You see it sometimes in the NFL. Team will go to the playoffs, they get bumped, and then they go deeper in the playoffs, and then finally they make the Super Bowl, right? It's like it's a progression. You don't see it a ton in college football that way because most of the time you graduate a set of players or they go to the NFL and you kind of have to retool, and then you're back in the playoffs at some point. Michigan did it. You made a good statement. It was a build. It was like, they got to the playoffs the first time, didn't really look like they belonged, right? They come back to the playoffs, weird game against TCU, still will never figure that one out.
Yeah, they were the better team, but
it seemed to be,
play
but
that way,
they lose the game, but it is right down to the wire, much closer, and then they finally have their championship team. That felt like a pro sports progression, not a college sports progression.
Normally when you see a team 3 consecutive years in the college football playoff, and we had 4 teams, it was your Alabamas, your Clemsons, your Ohio States, your Georgias, teams that were going nowhere. Like next year, maybe Michigan sneaks in a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
But I think they're different than these brand programs we've had for a while.
Everybody's got a way too early top 25 out. We'll do those in its own segment deeper into the show. We also will talk about Jim Harbaugh's future in our next segment and what Quinnshon Judkins did. All that coming up. We got basketball tonight around the country, including in Auburn and in Tuscaloosa. But in the opening segment here, we are talking national championship game where I think Washington got a little too cute and where I think Michigan learned from the Alabama game right after LT tells us about our friends at Gutter Cap.
205-823-2212. Look, a ton of rain in this area last night. You need to make sure the gutters are clean and free-flowing. The answer is Gutter Cap. They will come out, clean the gutters one final time. They'll cap them. You'll never have to clean the gutters out again. It's a dirty, dangerous job. Cap it, don't snap it. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
And also our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. While you're looking for a way to jumpstart your weight loss in 2024, let me remind you that it's just not about weight loss loss. Sometimes it's about maybe controlling some important numbers like, fat in your blood, cholesterol, blood pressure, that kind of stuff. You can do that with your diet as well. Check out Leslie and her board-certified team. Here's the website, planforme.com, planforme.com. Go there. You'll see every plan is designed specifically for you, the client. And then because you're a Next Round viewer, you've got no contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free. It is Way to Wellness. And again, Leslie and her board-certified team is standing by, just waiting for you to go to the website and sign up for a free consultation. Planforme.com, planforme.com. I'm down 2.5 pounds already. Watch me lose weight down to 192.5 this morning, looking for 177 by the time I take my shirt off at LT's Pool. You can be there too, not at LT's Pool, but with your shirt off this year if you're a guy. 177 pounds.
A lot of disclaimers.
Is the goal.
Yes.
Got to read the fine print. Planforme.com. Planforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. All right, so Washington. Couple of early times in the red zone, really goal to goal, especially on that first trip down when they had to settle for a field goal. They've got the greatest wide receivers in college football. They got Michael Penix Jr., and they run the ball, they kick a field goal. And the next time they're down there, they run the ball, then they finally pass on third down. Man, what are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't get that. Dillon Johnson has been a difference maker over the last 6 weeks of the season, and he's one of those guys that can at least take a little pressure off of Penix. But when you get in the red zone, and Brock Heward pointed this out, he said the difference is going to be Washington in the red zone. If they can convert touchdowns instead of field goals, they can win this game. And I think if they would have gotten some of those early, probably different game.
Yeah, and especially that first trip down there, because Michigan has just gone right down the field on you, and you look like you had no answers.
Yep.
And you go back down the field, and you have to invest 2 timeouts into that drive, and you only get 3 out of it. That's a killer.
But your point, still a good-looking drive coming
Yeah,
out
it was
of
a good
Michigan
drive.
did,
But
right?
if I'm investing 2 timeouts in a drive in the first quarter, I better get 7 out of it, not 3.
Well, I'll tell you, when they went down, I was like, damn, because I had Michigan in the under. And I was like, we're about to have a track meet.
It did kind of look like a
down.
yeah.
'Cause, I mean, that was you're against the wall answer after Michigan took it from their own 15, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just a drive; it was a drive.
And ran it down
It
your
was
throat.
a man drive, yeah. And then Washington was answering. I was like, you guys. I was like, okay, this is about to be a game.
I thought the same thing. We may have a little shootout here.
Yeah.
How was Washington moving the ball like this on Michigan's defense? Alabama couldn't do it. Nobody else they played hardly could do it. And Washington all of a sudden is moving the ball. And you invest 2 timeouts and you only get 3 out of it. And then Michigan takes it right back down the field on you. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be the game I thought it was going to be.
Felt better. I know it sounded weird with how explosive this Washington offense has been, but I thought Michigan would play from behind better than Washington. Because, once Michigan gets that lead, the anaconda.
Yeah, when it was 14-3, that's what I thought. I thought, here comes the anaconda.
But the whole time that we sat there, wasn't it 20-13 for all the third quarter?
Yeah.
That whole third quarter, 20-13, I kept sitting there going, well, eventually they're going to connect over the top.
Well, that's what.
Herbstreit brought that up too. He's like, one of these guys is going to make a big play, and I think it was the very next play where they missed on.
That was what was crazy.
No, it was a holding because he hit Odunze.
Holding.
Yeah, just called back,
and it was just kind of a hook hold.
But he hooked him first and got him off balance, and then he gave him a little shove.
Yeah, he
to
turned
the
him
ground.
and slammed. He basically turned him and slammed him.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah.
A little extension of the arm and then the push.
But if he hadn't done the push, if he just hooked him, he'd gotten away with it.
And that was a big play.
It was.
Yeah, what was wild is that Michigan left the door open for them, and they just refused to ever kick it in.
For a whole quarter.
For a whole quarter. I mean, Michigan was so vulnerable right there, and Washington just refused to ever do anything with it.
Yeah, I agree. On the other side, let's hear it from Michael Penix Jr., cut number 4. The guy was gutsy. I mean, I don't know if it was a rib injury, pulled muscle in his stomach, but he was in pain.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see him occasionally wipe tears from his eyes.
I
that
know
much pain.
Some athletes play it up a little bit. He's not one of those kind of guys. So
No.
I would assume this morning he's a little sore.
I will tell you, coming into the season, I was down on Washington. I can't remember where I had him in our preseason top 25. I just didn't think he could put together 2 good seasons back-to-back. He exceeded expectations, could have easily won the Heisman Trophy. Michael Penix Jr. here after Washington comes up 1 game short.
They're a good team. We just didn't execute it in the moments we needed to. Yeah, man. it was just about executing, man. I don't feel like they did anything that I feel like we beat ourselves, you know, and it was times we definitely had opportunities to make big-time plays, you know, to make this game a lot different, you know, but it just come down to executing. They're a good team, you know, but we had a lot of opportunities.
And they really did. And you go back to the 2 Donovan Edwards runs, which, by the way, out of nowhere comes Donovan Edwards. 41 and 46-yard touchdown runs. He had 4 carries for 11 yards against Alabama. Not a really big part of the game plan.
No, not at all.
I mean, he had 4 more carries than me and Brown combined in Pasadena. Didn't really contribute a lot. And then he comes out, and both of those were just run fit problems that they didn't. Well, they were not in their run gaps. They didn't defend it correctly and opened up a lane for a guy to get easy scores.
Well, I thought the first run where he actually gets caught up inside, you got to be able to make that tackle because then he bounces it back out. It was a great effort from Donovan Edwards, but man, you saw the speed. And you know, that was the thing. People always, the entire season, were like, I just don't think Michigan's got the speed to keep up with these teams. And boy, Michigan's got a lot of speed.
Does Donovan Edwards have abnormally large thigh pads or abnormally large thighs?
I think thighs.
I think he's a Hugh Freeze recruit. He got them small ankles and massive thighs. He's got a weird build to him.
If you go back and you look at the greats, not that Donovan Edwards is going to be a great, but he had a great night last night on a big stage. But he looked like from the waist down the way Ricky Williams used to look, the way Earl Campbell used to look.
Big old thighs, man. Massive.
Yeah, really good there. Michael Penix Jr., by the way, his first multiple interception game since September of 2022.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't throw 2 interceptions.
No.
He had 2 last night. One was late. He had to force it a little bit. But there were other dropped opportunities in that contest.
Yeah, kind of a weird game. You know, Michigan doesn't commit penalties. They average 2.5 per game. They had 5 last night and some pretty big ones. And then on the other side, you know, Penix doesn't make mistakes, and he made, you know, the critical one really was coming out second half.
Yeah, because, you know, you had a chance, and I focus on this maybe too much, but especially in the NFL, I think it's big. Your back-to-back possessions, right? You had a chance if you're Washington to have the dreaded or whatever you want to call it back-to-back. You scored, I think there was 40 seconds left. Michigan didn't have any timeouts left after that. And you score right before the half, and you got a chance at 17-10. You got a chance to go back-to-back and make it a 17-17 game. It's now all of a sudden we're at 0-0, and you throw a pick coming right out of the locker room.
Yeah, it was. It looked like the first play McCarthy threw in Pasadena.
That's right, yeah.
It almost was identical to what happened, except the Michigan guy didn't step out of bounds, and you get that big interception, which ended that momentum a little bit there. Forrester is telling me that I had Washington at 21 in our preseason ranking. Brown, you had him at 18.
Heck yeah.
LT had him at 11. So LT was the closer there. Forrester, I don't know if you have those pulled up. You don't have to show them, but can you give me any information on where the three of us had Michigan in the rankings? Here we go. This is
who's that?
Jim Dunaway. So I had Michigan just missing the 4-team playoff.
Oh, well, you were close.
Yeah. I got 2 of the playoff teams correctly. Who's next? Seemed like we had somebody pick Michigan to win it all, didn't we? Ryan Brown had Michigan also 5th, and he got 1 of the playoff teams. Well, you thought USC's defense was going to be better.
I did, yeah. That's a bad call by me.
Yeah. LSU 6. I think the next
I thought LSU's defense could be better.
Yeah. You were not good in defense.
No, I could not peg the defenses.
Yeah. All right. And here's Lance. LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama. You got 1 as well. Michigan 8th.
Yeah, we did.
Well, you know, it's funny because like after LSU lost that game is when I jumped on the Michigan bandwagon pretty much all season.
Yeah. You're right.
I can't believe I had them that deep down.
Yeah. Graphic don't lie.
No, LSU Georgia national championship.
Boy, when I look
that
back,
was close.
which was worse, LSU 1 or UTSA at 14?
Well, you know, UTSA again. If Frank Harris doesn't get hurt,
I know. I'm just kidding with you. Okay, a couple of personal things here from inside the family up here at Disrupt the Media.
What's happening?
Oh my gosh!
No. First, Forrester, let's go to the Korn household. You guys know Mr. Korn, right?
Yes, Big Don Korn, one of our favorite people.
I gave him a little confetti from Pasadena. He decides not to put it in a jar and keep it on the shelf. He decides to throw it in the air last night as Michigan wins the national championship. Don says, thanks for the gift, Jim. I'm going to go ahead and
Why wouldn't you?
re-gift the confetti.
Good for him. Don, a Michigan native, for those
Yes.
that don't know, that's where actually little T was born, in the state of Michigan. So Don grew up in Michigan, been a lifelong Michigan fan. So he's been waiting for this night for a long time.
Does he go back and pick that up, or does the Roomba pick it up?
There's a good chance the Roomba picked it up, but hey, it gave it all. It gave its all, right? That confetti
That's right.
fell on the Michigan players, and then it fell on Don Korn there. So it worked out good. It can go in the trash. It's his to throw away. I thought that was a great picture, though. One to savor. I mean, I'm sure he's throwing the confetti right when the real confetti is coming down.
Lunsford's right. Don's got a little Harbaugh in him with those glasses.
Yeah.
Little Harbaugh in him. Little Harbaugh in him.
Little Reese Davis.
Speaking of Lunsford.
Uh-oh. What has Lunsford done now?
I saw this.
Yeah, show it to me.
Oh, this is
Forrester.
wild, yeah.
He made a bet. Preseason Lunsford back in the
So I looked it up. One was in April and one was in June.
April and June. So you made two different bets. April and June. It's always good to double down. Same thing.
Yeah, I don't know why I did. Something had to have been said on the show that I was like, ooh, I'm not going to do that.
Dunaway was like, Michigan can't win this thing.
In between these three fingers is what I'm saying to you right now, my friend.
Hey, Lunsford, I got to ask, did you play any other futures to win the national championship?
This year, no. I typically do. And I picked Michigan last year, too. That didn't work out. But
Lunsford risked $300, and if the IRS would cover its ears real quick, he won $3,000, $3,040.
So which one did you forget you made? The 100 or the 200?
The 200.
So you forgot you had made the 200.
About April, I was just like, I'm going to make my picks for next year. It's about that time the odds were posted and everything on my bookie. So I was like, okay, I'll go do it. And then sometime in the summer, I'm sure it was Jim saying something. I was like, ooh, I'm going to pick Michigan.
Yeah, so you doubled down on that.
So I did it, and I was like, oh, crap, I already did this.
Whoa, what a good payoff.
Good for you.
Yeah.
How did Ross used to shoot the bird on that show? It was this? Was it this?
Yeah.
Sure, I didn't watch Friends.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Does that work for you? Yeah. I say a lot of stupid things. You make a lot of money. We should be a team is what we should be. You should be criticizing me. Yeah. You should just let the golden goose poop out those eggs for you, my friend. Congratulations to Don Korn and to Lunsford for a variety of different reasons. And before we take our first break, let's go to Ann Arbor. Because they partied like it was 1997 in Ann Arbor last night, including a fire in the distance. But the kids were out. All the great bars were packed, and then out into the streets they went to celebrate. And I thought I saw a fire, but
no,
maybe,
I think they were burning a couch. I read that there was a couch on fire. Which,
I saw the couch about to get burned.
Yeah, in honor of West Virginia. I don't know, but
it's drunk college kids. Jim.
Scenes from Ann Arbor. The video doesn't do it justice. Says Aiden Wagner.
I wonder what time the Little Brown Jug closed. I don't know if that's like their spot, but it's the spot where Harbaugh bought the burger, so I assume a lot of people go there.
Yeah,
I would think most of those spots were open all night.
Oh yeah,
anybody that had a private license was.
Yeah.
How about a good time though? Wouldn't you like to be there
that night?
Nope.
Wouldn't you like to be 22 and be there?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to be 22 and know what you know today and be there? Absolutely. Greg, come on, man. That's not true.
What'd Greg say?
Michigan has some fugly women.
I don't know.
No. I showed Brown a picture in the commercial. I mean, the pre-show.
That was one girl.
It was a group of girls.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe they all maybe all five of them stay at one table together.
Look at these girls. All right.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that J.J. McCarthy doesn't have an ugly girl.
Yeah, I would imagine JJ does okay.
I mean,
it's hard to tell when she leaned down and kissed him. She was crying with emotion. So nobody's beautiful when they're crying.
Did you see Jake Browning's girl, though?
I did.
Wearing the cat suit and the bucket, the furry bucket hat.
That was a very bold outfit.
I was told the cat suit is in now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, hadn't seen it running around 280. But
all I'm saying is you people in the chat room, remember Taylor was born in Michigan, so you may want to back off the Michigan comments.
Can I say something? I didn't get to see a lot of it. But I did see the one highlight. If you had a tradition, look, they say, Jim, before every show, you take your shoes off, you take your hat off, you sit down, crisscross applesauce, and you meditate.
Right.
Could you do that today if I had 15 cameras on you going in one of the biggest games of your life? Like, this is a big day to meditate. Could you pull it off?
Could I sit crisscross cross? Yes.
No.
But could I actually meditate?
No, but I thought the same thing you're talking about is like he's sitting against the goalpost meditating and all those cameras were in his face. I'm like, I don't know how he's concentrating
I
on
don't know how you
meditating.
can focus and like this is the one I want to do it where everybody can see me. Like it's not going to do in the locker room.
But I would imagine there's a reason he does it on the field, though. I would think it's probably some sort of mental connection.
But having all those cameras on you, just knowing like this
I
is
thought
me
the same
meditating.
thing. Yeah.
Jay says, hell no, that was all for show.
Well,
I think he does it every game.
Well, I think he did do it every game, but I think it probably got to the point once you get those distractions, you got to keep doing it. And I think his meditating was a little bit different.
But I promise you there was some sports psychologist along the way that was like, you need to do it on the field because that's where you feel your most anxiety. So go meditate on the field to set, some sort of tone or something like that.
And take your shoes off.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, it was so you can get in contact with earth and the field. And
that's artificial turf.
Let it seep up inside of you.
Get up your bones.
That was Bruce Willis, John McClane. Remember he was told to take his shoes off, grip the carpet?
Yeah, takes that stress away.
Yeah.
Bad on broken glass, though.
Bad on broken glass. Here is JJ. At least they gave him his space.
Yeah, they're backed up.
Yeah, they're only about 7 yards away from him as he sits there.
That's still invasive.
He did it. He did it in Pasadena. He actually came back out while Brown and I were live and meditated in the confetti.
Yeah, he sat down, just kind of took a moment. I mean, he wasn't there long. It was less than a minute.
I like that better because was there footage of that where there's still cameras?
Well, we showed it, but I mean, it wasn't like a million cameras out there. No.
Yeah. All right. So there's Michigan as national champions. Some other side to the coin when we come back, including Jim Harbaugh, what is next from him and what he said after the contest. And when and what Quinnshon Judkins did. We'll set the table for basketball. Clay Travis and Joel Klatt both with us in the second hour. Show being brought to you from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino studio today by our friends at Bud Light. 228 days away from week 0 of college football. Some of you will count down to Alabama or Auburn's first game or UAB's first game. We count down to the first game in college football, which is who? Anybody remember?
I don't, Jim.
Game day's going to be there.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's
not that big.
Oh, I thought it was USC and LSU.
It is in Dublin on week 0. It is Florida State, Georgia Tech. Yeah. So good, separated by only a couple hundred miles. Let's play it in Ireland.
2 bowl teams.
Yeah, 2 bowl teams. Yeah, one thought they should have been playing last night. We'll talk more college football when we come back. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy Bud Light. This is TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of peace of mind with a credit card from Legacy Credit Union. Why risk shopping with cash when you can enjoy the safety and convenience of shopping with their contactless credit card? With a Legacy credit card, you can enjoy incredible perks like rates as low as 8.9% APR, no annual fees, and no balance transfer fees. But that's not all. Earn fantastic rewards for travel and merchandise through Scoreboard Rewards. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com to make your holiday shopping not just safer, but smarter. APR annual percentage rate. Certain restrictions may apply. Subject to approval. Federally insured by the NCAA.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459 exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Basketball happening tonight. Little T and I will be down in Auburn for the 8 o'clock tip of Texas A&M and Auburn. Surprisingly, Buzz is 2-1 in Neville Arena.
Yeah, A&M has been a nemesis for Auburn. This is a tough spot for the Tigers normally against Texas A&M. I happen to think Auburn is the best team in the SEC right now, them in Tennessee probably. So it's a normally what you would say a tough spot for Texas A&M, but there's just been a nemesis for Auburn.
I would say Auburn, Tennessee, Kentucky.
Yeah, I go Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky.
Yeah. I think they're a lot alike, though.
A&M, though, disappointing loss this past weekend, really got blown out, and they came in, so dominant on the offensive boards, were neutralized there. That's going to be the key. Can they control the offensive boards against this Auburn team? Wade Taylor IV, really good guard, their leading scorer. Auburn should win this game, though.
Auburn should win the game, but I'll keep this in mind that of Texas A&M's losses, they've only lost to really good teams. LSU. We'll see what they are. But other than that, Florida Atlantic, Virginia, Memphis, and Houston, some really good basketball teams. So their 5 losses may surprise you. Auburn tonight, 8 o'clock. Alabama and South Carolina, 2 unbeaten SEC teams right now. Alabama surviving Vandy. South Carolina surprising Mississippi State. They play in Tuscaloosa at 6 o'clock. We'll hear from Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl a little bit later on in the show. But back to football we go. Right after I remind you, our friends at Legacy have a credit card that is perfect for you, especially if you need to transfer your balance from one high-interest credit card over to another. There is no balance transfer fees right now with the Legacy credit card. There's no annual fee, and you get a 2.99% annual percentage rate for balance transfers for the first 6 months. Credit card rates are as low as 8.90% APR as well. Now, the annual percentage rate is what the APR is. Terms and conditions may apply. See the credit union for detail. Our friends at Legacy also has Engaged Checking, which helps you out with a variety of different ways. You can visit any of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches or go online to legacycreditunion.com, legacycreditunion.com for details with our friends at Legacy. All right, Jim Harbaugh gets asked the question last night about does he want to add a Super Bowl championship to his national championship resume. Cut number 1, rock star, if you will.
A creative way of asking if he's leaving Michigan because the straightforward ways have not worked yet.
That's right. So after adding finally a championship to his resume, he gets to this question about the NFL.
For me personally, I can now sit at the big person's table in the family. They won't keep me over there on the little table anymore. My dad, Jack Harbaugh, won a national championship, and my brother won a Super Bowl. So it's good to be at the big person table from now on.
You just mentioned all those accomplishments in the big person's table. Would you want to add winning a Super Bowl to that?
I just want to enjoy this. And I hope you give me that, Can a guy have that? Does it always have to be, what's next? What's the future? Like I said the other day, I hope to have a future. Hope there's a tomorrow, a day after tomorrow, a next week, a next month, a next year.
Yeah, he has been evasive about answering that question. Now, he's just weird enough that he could be evasive to be evasive.
Yeah.
But normally when you're evasive about answering a question, and that's at least the third very public time he's been asked about it this postseason.
He gone.
There's normally a reason you're evasive. I mean, one of two things. You're either trying to maximize your next contract at Michigan or you're going to the NFL.
Yeah, like
those are really the only two possibilities.
I don't think it's about maximizing the contract. I mean, he can get whatever he wants to stay at Michigan.
You would have to think.
Yeah, I think they would give him anything. I think look, obviously he loves the program. He played there. He's already done something the guy that he idolizes in Bo Schembechler never did.
That's right.
And he wins the first outright since 48. And it's just as hard or harder to maintain than to build. And so now it's about, and things are going to get more difficult in the Big Ten. They're going to get more difficult in college football. For him to be able to keep intact the core players that he did over the last 4 and 5 years has been incredible. You just can't do that today. And so I think the easier path with the NCAA hovering over is going to be to go to the NFL. And I think that's ultimately what he's going to do.
And I think the success of his brother and his success on the collegiate level makes him attractive to most any franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, I think any franchise would be happy to have Jim Harbaugh. And he's coached in a Super Bowl before. Let's don't forget that.
But the question would be, if you can go to the Chargers and be anonymous in L.A., you're a Midwest guy, would you rather be in Chicago? You've got all of that draft equity, but you're going to be a known commodity because Chicago fans know their sports. L.A., nobody will know who that dude is.
Yeah.
Washington, L.A., Chicago, and now Las Vegas, and there seems to be some mutual interest, according to reports last night, between the bad haircut Davis family and Jim Harbaugh with Las Vegas.
Don't do it. Davises don't like to spend money. They're in a bad contract situation right now with Garoppolo, who's not even playing for them.
Yep.
To me, there's just better options out there.
Give me those teams again.
Washington, Chargers, Chicago, and Las Vegas. Obviously, Chicago in the Midwest. Los Angeles Chargers. He lived in San Diego for a very long time. He played for the Chargers as well.
Which one of those? Give me all of those that have a stable quarterback situation. Which ones?
There's only Justin Herbert.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
And I think Chicago is going to be stable, whether you draft Caleb Williams or you keep with Justin Fields. I think those are good quarterbacks.
I just don't want to draft a quarterback. And I said this about Nick Saban when people were talking about him going to the NFL. I didn't immediately discount it because you can't really discount coaches moving. But I always said and I would say the same of Jim Harbaugh. Well, I can't say the same of Jim Harbaugh, but if I were Nick Saban, I would never have taken an NFL job that didn't have a proven Super Bowl quarterback, a guy that had shown me he could get to the Super Bowl. And I know those are few and far between. I completely understand that. But that's how selective I would have been. I am not going to go try to rebuild. I'm not going to go draft quarterback. I'm not going to go take a middling quarterback and try to turn him into a Super Bowl guy. The only job, if I had been Nick Saban, I would have ever taken in the NFL after all my success at Alabama would have been one that had a proven Super Bowl quarterback. Now, Harbaugh, I think, obviously is he's itching to get back to the NFL, so he's not going to be quite as selective, I don't think. But I certainly would not take one where I've got a draft quarterback. That's just, there's no formula to get that right.
If you feel like, and there are people that feel like Caleb Williams is a generational quarterback.
Yep.
And if you feel like he's an Andrew Luck coming out.
People felt the same way about Ryan Leaf and many others.
They thought he was going to be really good. They
were debating Leaf or Manning.
I get that, but I don't think anybody said he's a generational guy.
Well, if you're debating him or Manning, you're saying that because everybody thought Manning was for dang sure.
One thing you need, and Nick didn't have this in Miami, is final say-so over the roster like Belichick has in New England. That way he could have taken Drew Brees, despite what the doctors were saying, and not forced to take the quarterback they ended up taking.
Which is Dante Culpepper.
Right. So Brees at Miami could have changed Nick Saban's fortune.
Well, there's no doubt. And Miami's and college footballs.
Yeah, and New Orleans.
Yeah, there were a lot of trickle-down.
Roman Harper's. It could have changed everybody's
It changed
life.
a lot of fortunes on that one medical decision by Miami's doctors.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of deal Harbaugh gets. I am going to go here and tell you that Jim Harbaugh, this version of Jim Harbaugh, comes across as a college coach. He no longer acts and talks like that guy that led the San Francisco 49ers to the NFC Championship. I don't know if it's medication. I don't know if it's an act. I don't know what it is. but he has gotten more quirky with age, his time at Michigan. I just don't see the way he acts now on camera. If that is him in real life, I don't see that playing well in NFL locker rooms.
Well, I mean,
I think it'll be a disaster.
That was one of the problems in San Francisco is like a lot of the guys didn't like him. I mean, at least that was the reports. He had a lot of success, so I do think the weirdness would be something to look at. And
now times that a decade later when players have a decade more power.
But I would say this, he knows the NFL, so he can reacclimate to the NFL. Like, I don't go to church enough, but when I go to church, I know how to act.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
just don't know the words to any of the worshiping songs.
Don't they put them on the screen, though?
I mean, I guess they do, but most people know those words.
Yeah, to some songs, yeah. Some of them are new. Sometimes the music leader will get up and say, hey, we got a new song. You're going to learn it with us today. And you're like, okay, we got a new one.
I hadn't been to a library, but what do you do when you walk into a library?
You get quiet and you read a book.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to take your hat off for the national anthem.
Yep.
I mean, there are certain things you know. Just not sure this version of Jim Harbaugh.
But would you want to deal with the shit that is coming?
In college football?
Well, not only that, but I'm talking about the
Michigan.
The NCAA. I mean, it's just going to be nonstop, and he has an opportunity to go out on top.
Give me cut two, Rockstar. I think if you don't think any crap's coming, then you're not worried about it. Jim Harbaugh last night gets asked about the cheating scandal, the recruiting scandal, the six game suspension, and in his head, this is what he believes. Here's Jim Harbaugh.
This was not a season where everything went the way you wanted it to. There was the off-the-field issues, which we all know about. Can you talk about the satisfaction having overcome those as well to get to this point? Does it make it even sweeter?
Can I? Yeah, it couldn't have gone better. It went exactly how we wanted it to go, to win every game. The off-the-field issues, we're innocent. And we stood strong and tall because we knew we were innocent. And I just like to point that out. And these guys are innocent. And yeah, overcome that. Wasn't that hard because we knew we were innocent. So yeah, that's really what I want to say. It went exactly how we wanted it to go. It went exactly how we wanted it to go.
Kind of weird that they knew they were innocent and they accepted a Big Ten punishment at the end of the season. I would like to point that out.
And that's another. I think he can be bold because he's about to bolt.
Four times he said the word innocent.
Yeah.
And I do believe in today's culture of social media and everybody's got the power of the iPhone in their hand, that if you say something enough people will start to believe it. So that's just really good PR. If I was coaching him up, I would say, any chance you get, use the word innocent. Innocent, innocent, innocent. 4 times he said innocent last night. And in our culture, the more he says it, the more people will believe it. Brilliant move by him last night. Didn't let the players jump into that. And back to him leaving or not leaving and him saying, can I just enjoy this? There is a part of me that has always been uncomfortable as a quote-unquote journalist, which is why I never claimed to be a journalist. I'm an entertainer. If I was the coach, I'd want to enjoy the night. We can worry about where I'm going to be on Tuesday.
Yeah, look,
on Monday, I know I'm getting paid millions, but on Monday, I've worked my butt off for several years now to get my school back to this, and I'm going to enjoy this tonight. I'll worry about the NFL on Tuesday.
Yeah, look, I don't even know why you asked the question. You kind of know what you're going to get, and if a producer tries to make you ask the question, that's on them. Because you remember Bonnie Bernstein after Kansas had just lost to Syracuse in the national championship in 2003. And you remember how pissed he got when she asked that question.
I dropped the S-bomb on TV, and that was unlike Roy Williams to do something like that.
Yep.
Right now, Bonnie, I don't give up.
Oh, I thought he went horse shit. Did he not?
No, I think he said I don't give an S about the North Carolina job.
Yeah. I mean, there is a time and a place. And I just have never been probably much to my boss's detriment, never thought that was the place to ask the question about tomorrow, unless you knew the guy was retiring. Like Pat Dye crying at the Iron Bowl and Gene Stallings' arm. Somebody needs to bring up in the post game, Pat, why were you crying?
Yeah.
It's my last game at Auburn.
I mean, it's a pretty big storyline, though. It's hard to absolutely ignore it, too. I know the fans don't, especially the Michigan fans, don't like you focusing on it, but those reporters know they are going to have zero access to Jim Harbaugh in the near future. This is your one chance to ask the question.
Next time you'll see him, likely will be being introduced at an NFL stadium this week, or the parade in Ann Arbor, whichever happens first. Our friends at Odie's bringing you part of the show. LT, tell us about Odie's, and then I'll tell you what's coming up next segment.
Yeah, tomorrow night, mark it down every Wednesday night. Odie's Team Trivia at the original location in Crestline. There's a new location in Homewood. Either location, enjoy great food from Rodney Davis, award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great salads and sandwiches. The chili this time of year is fantastic. Ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff. 2 locations, the original in Crestline, one in Homewood. It's Odie's Tavern.
On this date in 2007, anybody know what debuted?
2007.
Back row can jump in as well. Back room, anybody? Microphones on. 2007
A
debuted.
show debuted?
It was not a show.
The iPhone.
It was the iPhone. Who said that?
That was Rockstar.
I did.
Yeah. Well, usually it's somebody like Tyler mumbles it, and you take credit for it.
Yep. Okay.
Did anybody mumble that, or was that all you, Rockstar?
Anybody mumble?
It was at the seminar known as Macworld in San Francisco.
That's great.
Macworld.
So I watched a movie on the flight going out to L.A. called Blackberry, and I bet Lunsford's seen it. It is.
He is not. He's shaking his head.
Okay.
No.
It is really, really good, but it's about the creation of the BlackBerry. They take it to market, and then they get greedy. But I think in 2006 or 2007, right before the iPhone dropped, it had over 50% of the market share of people that were using a cell phone. And it is 0% is the market share
That's
now.
pretty crazy, though, because even the iPhone doesn't have 50% market share.
No, but people
That's nuts
used
that the
to.
BlackBerry
I
did.
never had it. Like no,
I liked it.
You know, my ex-wife Bethany, she had the BlackBerry. She loved it. I think Will Haver, just mentioned him. He had the BlackBerry. He loved it.
I couldn't afford it.
Was it expensive?
I don't know.
You bought the first version of the iPhone. I'll never forget it.
I saved up for that.
I like that razor because it would just slip in your front.
Dunaway had a razor.
He probably had a pink one.
The flip phone. Oh,
Magenta.
I had a pink one.
Magenta.
It's called Mauve. Thank you. When we come back, Quinnshon Judkins dropping a little knowledge last night and a very Taylor Corn pointed out the timing of it all. We'll talk about that next on TNR.
The NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah and Ryan Brown. DJ Football Weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCAA. When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmond Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Back with you on the Next Round as we continue on today. Quinnshon Judkins with I think a cool move if you're an Ohio State fan last night. We'll get to what he did and his announcement, what he's doing, and what these guys think of that right after Brownie tells us about our friends at JohnstonRVCenter.com.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator is where you find Johnston RV Center. Now, as the weather eventually warms up, it will not be in the next 7 days, by the way. You will start hearing about RV shows. Everybody's like, hey, come look at our RV show. We got the RV show. And Johnston RV Center is like, why do you have to wait on that? Why would you not just do it right now? So they're doing it right now. At both their locations, all the Forest River stuff is in. And they've got a ton of previously owned stuff as well. You do not sacrifice warranty on the previously owned if it's under 2 years of age. Lifetime warranty. Lifetime warranty on all of the new stuff. Go see it for yourself. Prices as low as $179 a month with approved credit. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman. 334 indicator, and always online at JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Timestamped on this is 10/13. That's about when Michigan was claiming the national championship. Quinnshon Judkins commits online. I'm extremely excited to join the Ohio State football program, capital letters, the Ohio State football program. Looking forward to being a part of a winning culture and helping do my part to beat the TUN, this university up north. Is that what it is? The up north. He left out.
Supposed to put the national champions.
I thought it was the school up north.
Yeah, it's supposed to be TSUN. Yeah, and bring a Big Ten championship and a national championship to Columbus. Blah 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 blah. So Quinnshon Judkins to Ohio State. I didn't have Ohio State in my bingo card. I think I mentioned it briefly. For some reason last week.
We talked about it yesterday a little bit.
But even last week and yesterday we talked about how your probably best case scenario is splitting carries with Travion Henderson and not being the feature back.
I've got a feeling now Travion's going to head to the NFL.
You think so?
Yeah, because he's yet to declare one way or the other, and I would assume there's probably been a conversation. More than likely Travion's not going to be here. You are going to be our guy. Even if Travion stayed, I mean, look, there's enough carries. I mean, we've seen Ohio State do this for years. But this is...
What do you think of Quinnshon at Ohio State?
Look, we've heard things, and it's unfair for me to say because I really don't know, but we've heard there's some character issues, and in the locker room might not be the best guy. But if you can get those things straight, I mean, talent-wise, 31 touchdowns over the last 2 years. I mean, he's been incredible.
Good system. That's offensive players generally succeed in that system. Under Ryan Day, they've got a good offense normally. This year, maybe they were a little less than what they have been. I think it's a good spot for him. I mean, again, I don't know a coach you're going to find that's more dedicated to the run than Lane Kiffin. So by leaving Ole Miss, you're like, I am going to go to an offense that's probably not going to feature me as much as Ole Miss was going to.
No, but Day, they do run it a lot.
That's what I was going to say. Day is pretty close.
Yeah, and they've gotten really active in the portal. You think about Will Howard, now Quinnshon Judkins. And they just said they weren't paying players, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, what do you think Quinnshon
One of their
costs?
players said that. Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
But okay, if I am USC, Oregon, Washington, if I'm Michigan or anybody else in the Big Ten, Penn State, that I think it can be contenders, whoever you think is a contender in the Big Ten, then you look next year. I look at Ohio State and I say, all right, so your quarterback's from Kansas State and your feature running backs from Ole Miss.
But
it seems like it's a step down from what Ohio State usually is.
But those are proven commodities. I mean, to me, those are, if you reclassified both of those guys, Will Howard's probably a 4-star. Quinnshon, I don't know if he's a 5-star, but it's close.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have 5-star running backs anymore?
Well, if they did, Ohio State's used to getting them.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And you lose Julian Fleming, one-time number 1 wide receiver recruit to Penn State, which means you probably have more great wide receivers there. But
I think the quarterback they wanted was Cam Ward, and that guy came from Incarnate Word. I mean, so, some of these guys develop. They're not the same player they were in high school. I mean, J.J. Watt was a 1-star coming out.
I will say this.
Or a no-star.
100 fewer carries, Ohio State this year versus Ole Miss. 100. That's a significant amount of.
I mean, what, 7-8 carries a game?
100 total carries, though. I mean, 7 or 8 carries a game. That's a lot.
7 to 8 carries a game.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen when you got Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
I know, but I'm just saying. My point remains: you're very rarely going to find a coach more dedicated to the run than Lane Kiffin. And
maybe
Judkins is walking away from that.
Don't want to carry it 25, 30 times a game.
Maybe you don't.
Well, I was about to bring up that it could be very much a business decision that 1 year I'll take a little money, I'll go to Ohio State, maybe play in playoffs, and then I go to the NFL with fewer less carries than if I stay where I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good plan because, less wear and tear. You've got a chance to win a championship. I know Ole Miss, and I saw the odds that came out last night. They're in the mix. But I feel much better about Ryan Day and Ohio State winning a championship than Lane Kiffin, and the exposure is going to be more too.
Okay, before we get to the top of the hour, let's play Do You Know Your National Championship Number? After I tell you about our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. If you haven't had that roof inspected in a while like Lance, it's time to get a free no-cost roof inspection from Storm Restoration Roofing. 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Greg from Pell City on Facebook. He'll do it for free and no obligation. But when you meet Greg, you're going to find out he's the guy you want to use to replace your roof when it comes time to repair storm damage. Maybe some of you had storm damage last night with those high winds. If so, you call Greg at the same number, 205-542-3531. 542-3531. Locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife own the company. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Go check them out. NCAA recognized national champions. Take out Yale and Princeton and Harvard and just the ones that still play FBS football. Who leads the country in national championships recognized by the NCAA? Brownie, you first.
Alabama.
Alabama's the correct answer. You got a number for me, LT, Brownie?
I would say 10.
10 by you.
Officially recognized. Now, Alabama claims 18, right?
Alabama claims 18. These
I would
are
say
recognized by the
officially
NCAA.
recognized as 13.
16.
16,
Oh, wow.
all right.
16.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
Which means they took out that one in the 40s and one other one. Who is second in national championships?
Second in national championships, I will go with...
Recognized by the NCAA. Oh. Here's a clue. They did not play last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't the team that hasn't won one since 1948. Gotcha.
97.
I would go Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with 7. The answer is Notre Dame with 13 recognized by the NCAA.
Okay.
Not one since 88. Michigan now slides in at 10. USC has 9. Ohio State 8. Oklahoma 7. Minnesota 6. And the rest less than 6. That's your
Minnesota hasn't won one since World War II, though, right? So they stacked up early.
Yeah. I just 16, 13, 10 now from Michigan, recognized by the NCAA. That's your Know Your Number national championship. Princeton's got some, yes. They're ranking high. Yale, I think, is number 1. So all craziness there. So there you go. Top of the hour now. Clay's on the other side. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We had such a good time on Bud Light game night all year long. Thank you for all coming out as football season ends on the college side. We enjoyed our Thursday nights with you, and thanks to all the establishments that had us out on Thursday nights with our friends at Bud Light. When we come back, Clay, and then some NFL football, and then back to the college game with Joel Klatt, all in hour number 2 on TNR.
Follow LT on Twitter @TheLanceTaylor.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hour number 2 of the show, Clay Travis standing by. We're going to get to him as we crown Michigan as the national champion, 34-13 last night. 228 days now until we see competitive college football again. A lot of fun with the NFL coming up, and we look forward to talking to Joel Klatt about the game last night later this hour, Brownie.
Yes, indeed. Right now, Clay Travis joins us fresh back from down under. The founder of Outkick with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You see him on Fox and Fox Sports as well. What is up, Clay? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Before we get to the game, I spent what did we spend? A little less than a week out west, and I don't know that my body has still recovered. I cannot imagine your body having to recover from Australia. Have you been able to acclimate yet?
Yeah, fairly well. The travel down to Houston and back, we got in late last night, so that kind of throws things off. A little bit too. It's just been super busy in general, but overall, it was easier going, I think, than coming back would be the way that I would describe it.
Okay, what did you like most about Australia, and what was the most interesting difference? Because I heard it's very Americanized, but the most interesting difference between Australia and where we are.
Yeah, the most interesting difference, I would say, is the things that you have to be afraid of in the water in the warm weather in Australia that I never thought about. You think about sharks. That's not a surprise. They're the sharks. But, like, one of the beaches, at least, that we went to said, like, hey, beware of saltwater crocs. That's like, I think I took a picture of it saying, hey, the beach is perfect and pristine. It's like you're on 30A and they say, hey, this is saltwater crocodile area. So I don't know about you, but it seems unfair that you could be, killed by a crocodile or, an alligator in any way when you're out, just kind of the crystal clear blue waters of 30A. And then they have these jellyfish, like you're supposed to wear a stinger suit because if you get hit by a jellyfish, like you're going to go into anaphylactic shock. That's how dangerous some of their jellyfish are. Now, this probably won't surprise any of you guys, but I did my own research on the jellyfish, and I was like, this is way over-exaggerated.
Oh, the box jellyfish, Clay.
Yeah, so I was like the only person who would refuse to wear a jellyfish suit on, like, when we were snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef and everything else. And my kids, they had to wear them, but they were like, they loved it. One of my kids was like, I said, the jellyfish in Australia were the COVID of the ocean, just wildly overrated. And my kids just couldn't get over that thing that I would say that. They were like, you just totally jinxed yourself, Dad. You're going to die of a jellyfish now. So those.
Well, which son said that? He's my favorite.
The seventh grader, but they all loved it. They were like, "This is vintage Dad doing his own research on jellyfish and deciding that it's overrated, and refusing to wear a suit." What I would say in general are things that you never think of as being afraid of that are that are dangers in the actual tropical waters there. We loved it. I mean, people were super friendly. We went all over the eastern coast. I would say I had no real conception. Australia is basically as big as the United States, right? And I think that stuns a lot of people in terms of physical geography, the continental United States. And I'll give you an example where Sydney is. New South Wales is the state there. It's bigger than every United state except for Alaska. These states are huge, and their population is basically the same as Florida. So you have this country that is as big as the continental United States that has as many people as just the United States as Florida does by itself. And everybody's kind of clustered on the eastern seaboard of Australia. It's beautiful. So many different geographic types. I had no idea how incredibly beautiful it would be. But we had a phenomenal time.
Well, thank the Crocs for that, keeping the population down, I guess, right?
Sounds
dangerous. I want to ask you, because you hear about, you go to Italy, the food and the wine and the scenery and the people, and you go to England and the food is horrible. Other than the quote unquote Vegemite sandwich, is there anything Australian is known for their diet in Australia? What's the food like?
I don't think so. Remember, Australia, nobody, the Aboriginal people, which is its own, story, but let's leave them aside. No European had ever been to Australia till after the United States was a country. So, our country is very young, but they hadn't even had anybody arrive in Australia until I think it was 1788 when James Cook pulled into Sydney and founded it as a penal colony. And I would say, at this point, and obviously technology has probably altered this to some degree, but man, it is just a brand new country. It feels like still very much. There's hardly anything that feels old. The country feels young and dynamic. But the food, I didn't think really the food felt any different than it does in the United States. It was obviously tons of seafood because the whole country basically is on the ocean. But it was pretty fantastic. We didn't have any major issues with food or anything, and we've got obviously the three boys, and their favorite thing to eat, no matter what, is basically chicken tenders, hamburgers, and pizza, like most kids. And they were well acquitted there.
Clay Travis is with us, Fox Sports founder of Outkick. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. All right, so Michigan wins last night, and listen, we've talked about the game many different ways. We could still do that with you, but one of the biggest storylines coming out of this game is the future of Jim Harbaugh. If you were able to place a bet on this, if your gut would tell you, what would your gut tell you about Jim Harbaugh and his future?
Well, I mean, all the smoke surrounding the NFL has been there the last, 3 years or so. And I think if a guy were completely uninterested in the NFL, that smoke would not be there. I think he's going to leave. And I think, initially a couple of years ago, we said, okay, he beat Ohio State and he has won the Big Ten title. So if he left, this was after the 2021 year, it wouldn't be like he tucked his tail between his legs and ran off. Because remember, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, after the 2020 season, when I think Michigan went 2-8, and then they tested positive for COVID and they weren't able to play Ohio State, I think I'm correct in those numbers. The Jim Harbaugh experiment looked like a failure. I mean, that was the universal opinion. Mine, I imagine most of yours. At the end of 2020, it felt like, okay, Michigan is kind of done as a major contender. And Harbaugh hadn't beaten Ohio State, hadn't been able to win his division. And then 2021, 2022, 23, he suddenly flipped a switch, beats Ohio State 3 straight years, wins 3 straight Big Ten titles, and now wins the national championship. And you could make the argument, okay, he's climbed the mountain, he's gotten there. A lot of coaches don't have as much interest in sustaining as they do in building. And that, to a large extent, has been Jim Harbaugh's story for much of his coaching career, whether it's San Diego, whether it's Stanford, whether it's the 49ers, and now, obviously, Michigan, getting to that mountaintop. I know he didn't win the Super Bowl, but he got there to coach against his brother, which is still kind of a crazy story, honestly. And so, to me, I think the money and the opportunity is going to be too substantial. I also think there's a lot of college coaches in general, based on people I'm talking to, that look at college football and say, man, the reason we used to decide to coach college football instead of go to the NFL is because college football coaches actually have more power over their teams and over the decisions that their players make. And now that's crumbling. And so I do think there's some guys who say, you know what, if we're going to have to worry about salary cap issues, basically, and we're constantly going to be negotiating new contracts, the NFL is actually less complicated right now than college football is. And arguably, it's a less all-encompassing job. So given the fact that I would imagine dollar figures are probably going to be somewhat even, I don't think this is going to be a money decision. Lots of guys do college football because you can make more money oftentimes in college football than the NFL. That will be intriguing to see exactly what his choice is, but I would bet on NFL.
You know, we were out at the Rose Bowl last week, and you could see the relief from Michigan, not only the team, Harbaugh, the fans, and then just watching this week and listening, and then last night, it almost reminds you of Georgia 2 years ago in Indianapolis. You were there in Houston. Your wife, Laura, is a Michigan grad. I mean, what was the atmosphere like with Michigan fans?
I think Michigan fans are pretty confident coming into this game. I mean, I think you saw the reaction when they had to beat or had to play Alabama, then they had to beat Alabama in overtime. I think getting over the SEC hump was what Michigan was concerned about because that had been the boogeyman for Jim Harbaugh once you got past Ohio State, the ability to win a college football playoff game and get past the big bad SEC was the hurdle that Michigan had not overcome. So I do think, to your analysis, once they beat Alabama, I think they expected to beat Michigan, to beat Washington. I think they hoped to beat Alabama. I think they expected to beat Washington, and I would say that's probably the vibe of the fan base in general.
In 2010, you had strong comments about Cam Newton and Auburn and their national championship, that they would eventually have to give it back. With the cheating scandal and the recruiting scandal with Michigan. Do you have any such declaration about the Michigan national title?
Any such declaration?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think even Auburn fans now would agree with me when I said that the $175,000 Auburn allegedly spent on Cam Newton is probably the best money ever spent in the history of college football. The best purchase, especially true in light of where we are now in NIL, where $175,000 won't even get you, a backup defensive tackle some days. So Cam for $175 was a hell of a deal. And to Auburn's credit, they managed to avoid what did Cam Newton say? Like they say, that's an ongoing investigation. They managed to cover up any evidence of that, and congratulations. I think they passed the statute of limitations now. I actually think the NCAA is way less powerful today than they were in 2010. When Michigan got popped for the Fab Five, even though they didn't win the national championship in college basketball, those Final Four trips were officially wiped out over the Chris Webber and the payment scandals associated with that. No, I said that I thought Michigan would avoid all punishment, and I think they will. I don't think the NCAA has the wherewithal to come after Michigan in an aggressive way for cheating. I also think that the Jim Harbaugh suspension for 3 games now gives, and I think this was the decision Michigan ultimately came to, now gives Michigan a colorable argument that they had already paid the penalty for what they did. And I'll say what I've been saying for a long time. I actually think if you go back and look at the 21st century, who is the guy who has been the most overpunished by the NCAA for what he did?
Reggie Bush.
Well, okay, Reggie Bush, the player, I would agree in general, although they stripped him of his Heisman and they stripped USC, but he still got to play in every game. I would argue it's just down the road from where you guys are now. The fact that Bruce Pearl got suspended for 4 years for something that is now legal under NCAA rules is, I think, the last guy who really significantly got punished in any way by the NCAA.
Yeah, Jeremy Pruitt. I mean, now Alabama has a defensive coordinator job open, and a lot of people want, if the reports are true, that Kevin Steele's retiring. And a lot of people want Jeremy Pruitt. I think he would still have to sit out a suspension year if Alabama hired him, and that's insane to think about.
What he is accused of, I agree. I think the idea that anybody at this point in time is getting punished for paying players when guys are getting paid millions of dollars now is totally absurd. But Bruce Pearl got suspended for over 4 years. I mean, the guy went and worked I mean, he came on weekly with us in radio back in the day, but he had to go work at a grocery supply chain.
Yeah.
Because he lied about having a junior visit his house for a barbecue. I mean, I still think nobody got screwed in the history of college coaching worse than Bruce Pearl for what was a relatively minor. That was probably the apex of the NCAA's punishment regime. I just don't think they have the stones to do anything to Michigan. And by the way, it's not just Michigan. I don't think they have the ability to do anything to any major program at this point in time. I mean, I'm trying to think, when was the last time that a major program really had a significant punishment come down? I can't even remember it now. I mean, I know Ole Miss got hit over the paying players with Hugh Freeze stuff a few years ago, but what did they end up giving up? It doesn't feel very significant. And now Lane Kiffin's out buying every player, it feels like, who enters the transfer portal. So
Bill Self got caught on audio tape and got some pretty strong proof, and he had to miss a game.
A game?
Yeah. Got a contract from Kansas that said anything you've ever done does not count against you.
And won a national championship.
And got a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
He makes like $10 million a year, and he can coach there as many years as he wants. Yeah, but I mean, so that huge investigation that the FBI was involved in, not just the NCAA, the FBI, virtually, I mean, it looked like all of college basketball might come, crumbling down because they basically caught everybody paying for college basketball players. Nothing happened to anybody. So no, I don't think anything will happen to Michigan.
Hey, so are any of your kids Tennessee fans?
2 of the 3.
Okay.
2 of the 3.
Yeah, because I know
for the
Lincoln is
record-
Alabama.
Yeah, for the record, would you state who the other one is?
Yeah, 2 of my 3 children have sold. The third has given it all up to the devil.
I thought I saw one of the kids. I thought it might have been Fox in a Michigan jersey.
Oh well, their mom gets them Michigan gear. So, so they'll wear like a Michigan jersey, sweatshirt, whatever else because they have that gear. But the 2 of the 3 are Tennessee fans. One of them is an Alabama fan, and I would say they're all anti-Ohio State, and they would casually root for Michigan because of their mom, but they're not diehards throwing things if Michigan loses.
All right, he is Clay Travis, founder of Outkick. At Clay Travis on Twitter, Fox Sports as well. Clay, thank you very much for the time, man. Have a great week.
Hey, appreciate you all. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. See you next week. Clay with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show being brought to you by Dr. B, LT's hair guy that will get your hair just right in 2024.
I saw our man Dr. B at dinner last night.
Oh,
We were
yeah?
both at walk-ons. Yeah, I got to talk to Dr. B for a little bit. Great dude. Again, when my hair started to thin out, Dr. Beckenstein is the name everyone mentioned. Went to see Dr. B. My hair has more than doubled in thickness since that moment. It's been almost 2 years now. Here's the number, 205-319-0316, t3hair.net. I also got that Sensus Transdermal Infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary, as Dr. Beckenstein can pinpoint delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. Call, schedule the consultation today, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
And also by our friends at Legacy. LegacyCreditUnion.com for all the great stuff I'm about to tell you about. That includes Engage Checking. And you may say to yourself, Jim, I've had the same checking account since my grandmother opened it up for me back in the 1980s. Well, checking accounts have changed. With Engage Checking, you can sign up today, and you'll get 3.00% APY on balances up to $15,000. That's annual percentage yield. So the money in your checking account is making you money as it sits there. You get paid 2 days early with direct deposit, Social Security checks, tax refunds, any of those checks, and you get the instant issue debit cards. You can apply in minutes at any of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches or go online to LegacyCreditUnion.com, LegacyCreditUnion.com, and also the wonderful Legacy credit card, where you have a wonderful 2.99% annual percentage rate for balance transfers for the first 6 months. Balance transfer fees, there are none of those. There's no annual fees. The Legacy credit card's the way to go. If you got a high interest, big balance credit card, transfer it over to Legacy, and they will help you save money and take care of you. Apply in minutes online. LegacyCreditUnion.com, LegacyCreditUnion.com. More college football when we come back, including what Brown brought up on Kevin Steele and what went on at Auburn in the defensive coordinator room yesterday, or at least according to reports. That is next on TNR.
All the SEC with our all-SEC analyst, Roman Harper. Thursdays at 9:25.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Brian Brown here for The Next Round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. All the games, player props, great parlays, and all right there at mybookie.ag, right at your fingertips. And right now, you can get a special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit by using code NEXTROUND. That's mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND for that special sign-on bonus. MyBookie.ag, code Next Round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
Want more of the Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, the Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Later on, we'll have some fun with the way too early top 25s that are out from just about everybody in the business, and some interesting thoughts, especially on how the Big Ten will shake out a little bit later on. But let's spend a little bit more time on some other college football things first, right after LT tells us about the wonderful folks at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make that phone call today, 205-969-8100. Make the year 2024 the year of sight. If you've battled before, you wear the contacts or glasses, you're wasting money each and every year. I experienced that. I finally got the procedure done more than 2 decades ago. I've still got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Okay, so Kevin Steele announces he's retiring from football, and it comes on the same day that there were reports that Auburn is losing their defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, to Florida to join Billy Napier's staff. Instantly, I mean, timing probably a coincidence, but one guy who did a hell of a job coaching football in Tuscaloosa this year was a guy named T-Rob. He's got some roots where, Brownie?
He played at Auburn.
Yeah.
Tavarius Robinson.
So you got a guy who if Auburn's looking for a defensive coordinator, that guy would be pretty highly thought of, in my opinion, to go back to Auburn.
Well, he's been a defensive coordinator before, obviously, at South Carolina, and a lot of people, there was a suggestion by Lane Kiffin, and Lane certainly was not alone in this, that he was the de facto defensive coordinator this year for Alabama. Or at very least, he and Kevin Steele were co-defensive coordinators, if not by title, by action. So, yeah, I mean, I think Tavarius Robinson would be he's always been a pretty hot commodity in coaching. Yeah, I think he certainly would be in this offseason.
I would think that this is going to be the obvious first choice.
For Alabama.
For Alabama.
Yes.
You know, promote him up, because if you don't, not only do you probably lose him off the staff, but he probably goes across the state.
Yeah, he probably ends up at Auburn, assuming, you know, you're comfortable working in whatever relationship you would have to work with Charles Kelly, or be asked to work with Charles Kelly.
That's true.
And I don't know, you know, would that be a code?
Charles Kelly, for those that don't know, is at Auburn.
Yeah.
Came from
used
Colorado,
to be in
right?
Tuscaloosa. If you're talking about T-Rob, if he went to Auburn.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the assumption. Like, if he went to Auburn, I mean, I don't know what Charles Kelly has been promised. Are you co-defensive coordinator no matter what? Are you defensive coordinator now that Ron Roberts is gone, and anybody else is going to be, you know, some weird name like associate head coach for defense or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, you don't know all the details there, but you got to think at some point, Tavarius Robinson, I think any coach wants to elevate, and he wants to be a defensive coordinator, I would imagine. And, you know, if both jobs are open at the same time, you're already at one place. That would seem like the natural place to stay.
Yeah, but he was talking about him staying in Tuscaloosa. That does seem like it would be the obvious promotion there. Other guys who could be interested in Auburn, One of them, who is a highly thought of defensive coordinator who was forced into the head coaching job because of the death of Mike Leach. But Zach Arnett, well respected, if he wants to coach this year, he's got $4 million in his pocket. But if he wants to coach this year, you could do a lot worse than Zach Arnett.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at his resume from San Diego State. I thought he was such an interesting hire for Mike Leach. And look, those defenses were good. I mean, they weren't bad defenses under Mike Leach. And he was just overwhelmed. It was just a bad fit. Didn't work out. I think he'll reacclimate himself. He knows, obviously, the conference. I think it'd be a really good hire.
Chris Kiffin's name mentioned. He is with the Houston Texans. If you're not keeping up with him this year, I don't know if you noticed, but he and D'Amico Ryans had a pretty good year defensively this year for the Texans.
You'd have to pry me away from there. That seems like a good spot to be right now is on the Texans staff.
Yeah, so a couple of names that are other names that are out there. Our buddy Justin Hokanson with a nice list if you want to go check that out. But Charles Kelly, the guy who left Colorado, was at one point with Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, has a history, and he's back with Hugh Freeze now. And as I said on the video I shot for Little T last night on our social media platforms, he's a guy that I don't think you can judge by the numbers he put up at Colorado this year because of the players he had on that defensive unit out there. You had a great DB. After that, I think he was making lemonade out of whatever the saying is.
Yeah, taking lemons and making lemonade.
Yeah.
I need to go back and look at his numbers at Florida State. I
guess I got chicken salad confused right there.
Well, you could use that one as well.
Yeah.
Because I remember at Florida State fans being a little bit upset with him. He's been a defensive coordinator at a couple stops, but primarily Florida State 14 through 17.
Hey, their defense was bad this year, not Florida State's, Colorado's, but it was still a massive improvement.
That's what Craig says, Brownie. Kelly is an awful DC. Look at his history at Florida State. Troy, guarantee you Kelly will not call a single defensive play at Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, I remember us doing a show from L.A. when this happened, and I was like, this doesn't, blow my socks off, and you felt differently about Charles Kelly.
I think he's a really good recruiter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think from recruiting, but if he's my defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Well, he was coming in as an assistant head coach, defensive something, right? He wasn't given that title at the time.
So in the ACC in his years there, Florida State was ninth, and I'm just going to go scoring defense, easiest one to pull up. Ninth, second, ninth, and fifth. In the ACC. Yeah, that's
ninth in the ACC.
Ninth in the ACC, twice. Yeah, I remember Florida State fans not liking Charles Kelly. I do remember that about him. I can't swear that I, just really watched his defenses back then, but I do remember Florida State fans weren't crazy about him.
By the way, on the ongoing cycle of transfers, Malik Benson, brief time in Tuscaloosa. He is going to be at Florida State next year. So he's didn't really get a lot of targets in Tuscaloosa.
They like their tall receivers in Tallahassee.
He was big in the offseason. He's on his way to Florida State there. One more thing that went on yesterday at the site of the national championship that will impact next year's national championship right after LT tells us about our friends at Redmont.
Redmont Vodka, locally owned and operated. Charles Barkley, one of the great faces behind it. Available in 22 states. Ask for it by name if they don't have it. Tell them to get it. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled. Available at your local package store and ABC store. It is Redmont Vodka.
Okay, keep in mind that Bill Hancock is outgoing, but he said this isn't the thing I wanted to tell you went on yesterday, but he did make a point that in 35 years of working with the NCAA on their championships and committees in college athletics, that he has never seen anything like this. And that was the death threats and the outpour from Florida State people, or people in general, but it was because Florida State was left out of the playoffs. They had to contact the FBI. There were death threats. The college football playoff personnel added security for the committee members for a brief period of time.
Have you ever got a death threat?
I have not. 35 years, he says he's never seen anything like that, but he says he does not think it will impact future people's desire to volunteer and be a part of the committee.
I don't know how you take those seriously. Your team got snubbed. I know you're upset. You're an idiot for making a death threat, but are you really going to come kill me?
Do you not think we should even though I'm not talking about jail time, but some kind of a financial penalty, do you not think we should track down?
Oh, yeah.
every
And I
death
think it's
threat?
more about public embarrassment, too.
Yeah. And send a message?
Yeah. No, I totally agree because there's no explanation for it, really. This is back, Sankey, commented on this a couple of days ago and talking about he'd never seen anything like the backlash that came out of that.
And Bill Hancock echoed that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Florida State's lucky, by the way, they didn't get in this 14 playoff.
No doubt. I would not take it seriously, but I will say this. I had a friend that was an Associated Press voter in the basketball poll. And there was, I don't know if he made the mistake or there was a mistake in the tabulation of his poll, but it became public where he had a team ranked that was in his backyard.
Right.
And he was a prominent media personality in that area. And he got death threats in an Associated Press basketball poll, by the way. Death threats. And that was a passionate fan base. And you're going to guess this wrong when you write that name down. And he said, look, I got death threats, and I laughed them off until now.
I didn't get it right.
I laughed them off until one came with a photo of my house with my oldest daughter's window circled, and it said, is this where her name sleeps?
Oh, at that point, yeah.
And he said that was when...
Well, that's when the FBI gets involved and somebody does jail time.
He was like, people just sending
that was
them...
the betting favorite.
No. It's nobody local. You've gone local twice. It's
I bet
not in
that's
Alabama.
happened, though.
It's not in Alabama. But he was like, I just laughed off death threats on Twitter because they were, just idiots that didn't even have their name behind it. He said, but then when I got that one emailed to me, it raised an alarm.
That's when I called my local branch of the Federal Bureau of
I do think he got law enforcement involved at that point, and there was probably some resolution to that.
There should be at that point, 100%. Here's what went on yesterday that's of importance. It wasn't voted on only because of the remaining Pac-12 representative, which I think is the guy from Washington State. You have to have a unanimous vote to approve a change to the playoff system. But we are on the verge of playing next year with the 5+7 model, not the 6+6. So we're not going to have two group of fives unless they qualify as a wild card. We'll have one automatic group of five and then the four power conferences, conference champion, and then 7 wild cards. He or she, whoever's representing Washington State as the Pac-12 representative, wanted to go back and talk to the Oregon State folks, their counterpart, and come up with a resolution and then make their vote. But everyone who left the meeting yesterday believes that before we even get too deep into this off season, that we'll play a 5+7 model next year, meaning SEC champion automatic, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, highest rated group of 5 conference champion, and then 7 wild cards.
I'm for that.
That's the way it should be.
I like more wild cards
I do too.
more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I and this is going to sound very elitist of me. I wish we would put, and it would probably qualify most of the times, but I wish we would put some sort of bar on where the Power 5 team has to be to get that
Group of
bid.
5.
The Group of 5 team has to be to get that bid.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just a crap year in the Group of 5 and nobody's ranked higher than 20th in whatever you're
I think
using,
top 20 would be about right.
I mean, whatever it is, that there has to be some sort of criteria they meet to get that automatic bid. Yeah. And I would be fine, by the way, doing that with the Power 5 conferences. I don't think it would ever come into play. But if every team in a Power 5 conference has a crap year and none of them are ranked 20th in whatever rating you're using, they shouldn't get an automatic bid. I'd be fine with the Power 5 having to meet that same criteria. I just think they're always going to meet it, and the Group of 5 occasionally may not.
Yeah, so I thought that was a step in the right direction there yesterday. All right, show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. We'll tell you about Hemp Hill in a second, but one other thing before we go to break here, because we did a lot of flying. Brown and I went Birmingham to Chicago, Chicago to Las Vegas, Las Vegas to Los Angeles, L.A. to Las Vegas to Houston, Dallas to Birmingham. LT took a different route, but some of the same routes. A few days ago, I don't know if we were ever on a Boeing 737 MAX 9, but a few days ago, one over Portland, the exit door, the one I think that when it was designed, they don't actually use, but it came off as it ascended,
mid-flight,
as it ascended out on takeoff. which I've always told you I've heard that's when a lot of things go wrong is on takeoff.
Well, I've heard the opposite. I worry more on takeoff than I do on landing. I don't know why.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The more things go wrong on takeoff.
Yeah, but I think it's been debunked the other way. Rockstar, do you know? I think it's landing.
I don't know. Well,
I think there's more fatalities landing.
So I'm safest in midair.
Well, no, you're not. Well, because you're ascending so quick, but then you're descending so quick when they hit that runway, that speed you're going. Like if I always were like, I hope the brakes are good today.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're going so
the brakes
fast.
or the bolts on the wheels when it hits there.
Or the tarmac's really long.
David says Southwest does not have any of these.
Great news, David.
Yeah, because
I feel better.
Because I booked flights last night on Southwest again.
They don't have a lot of organization either.
Well, I mean, I booked flights on Southwest last night, and Jennifer brought this up. She's like, have you seen the story about these? Because I think a lot of them have been grounded because of this.
171 of them grounded. That is the hole there. Amazingly, nobody was sitting in that one seat that did not suck anybody out. Luckily, because they were still ascending.
Everybody's buckled in.
Everybody still had their seatbelts on. So
Can you imagine witnessing that?
No. I mean, Brown and I talked about it before the show.
Yeah. Holy hell.
Yeah. but that's what I'm getting to, Rockstar. Nobody went out there, but you know what did? Headrest went out. Clothes went out. Bags went out. Your underneath bags.
Not the Sky Mall.
And cell phones went out. In fact, on a road outside of Portland, an intact phone from that flight was still found.
Yeah.
Shout out iPhone in that case.
That's a pretty good case.
I drop it off my counter and it'll shatter.
I know.
This one fell out of a freaking plane. It is okay. They found the door actually on a farm outside of Portland.
Yeah.
See, these are things that I never think of. I think of it, when we're taking off. That's about the only time I'm kind of freaked out. Bad turbulence will get me a little bit. But, I'm one of those, I get up, I go to the bathroom on the flight, I never think about it, and now it's just another thing that gets embedded. Hey, what if that door comes up?
David says Alaska and United, and this was an Alaska Airlines that we're talking about.
Alaska Airlines,
Yeah.
It was 171 have been grounded, going through inspection. They said you would be shocked in the story I was reading, the number of loose bolts you found across the board in these things.
No thank you.
Boeing stock dropped 8% yesterday.
That's pretty important. Keep those doors on.
Yeah, and to tighten those bolts.
Yeah, tighten those bolts, keep those doors on.
I mean, would you not? I mean, what, an extra 30-minute delay just for somebody to go tighten every bolt?
Let's get that little wrench.
Yeah.
All right, we've tightened them up.
Side by time, so I'm going to take my time myself.
right.
This is going to be.
You think they ever say that we've got a taxi slow, we've got another flight, it's going to be about 15 minutes? Do you think they're tightening bolts? Because they're not going to come on and say, you know what, we got to tighten some bolts.
We found some loose bolts out here.
Yeah, but when you're taking off, you get that shaking going on. You got to think to yourself, man, there's a lot of bolts that's got to stay tight when it's shaking.
Only got to miss one for it to go bad, by the way.
Every time I hear a story like this, I always wonder, was my last flight my last flight?
If you have to wonder it, no.
Yeah. But my concern is always, is my next flight my last
That's
flight?
right. That's the bigger concern, yeah.
Well, when we come back, Joel Klatt joins the show. This is TNR, the show being brought to you by Hemp Hill.
205-969-8100. That is the number. 229-2050 actually is the number. Just threw out a Michelson for you there. Look, keep up with the changing weather. Make sure that unit is. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest, or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of peace of mind with a credit card from Legacy Credit Union. Why risk shopping with cash when you can enjoy the safety and convenience of shopping with their contactless credit card? With a Legacy credit card, you can enjoy incredible perks like rates as low as 8.9% APR, no annual fees, and no balance transfer fees. But that's not all. Earn fantastic rewards for travel and merchandise through Scoreboard Rewards. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com to make your holiday shopping not just safer, but smarter. APR and annual percentage rate. Certain restrictions may apply. Subject to approval. Federally insured by the NCAA.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Joel Klatt, more on the national championship coming up in just a second. Before LT tells you about Michelson, a look ahead to the schedule tonight in college basketball. Texas A&M at number 16 Auburn. Auburn 12-2 tonight, 7 straight wins by more than 15 points in each of those games. South Carolina and Alabama, 6 o'clock in Tuscaloosa. Both teams unbeaten in the SEC. The rest of that slate, and Joel Klatt after you tell us about Michelson.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Look, if you're having trouble with the eyes, whether you're wearing the contacts or the eyeglasses, at least get screened out. See if you're a potential candidate. Really simple. Call for the free consultation, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Missouri at Kentucky. Number 6 Kentucky tonight. Vandy and LSU in the SEC. Number 25 Texas at Cincinnati. A good one, 18 BYU, 14 Baylor play each other tonight in Waco, 8 o'clock. Brownie, where's that game broadcast tonight?
Which one?
Number 18 BYU, number 14 Baylor. I don't expect you to know. I'm just making a point here.
I'm going to say ESPN Plus.
It is ESPN
yep.
Plus.
Yeah.
You have 2 top 20 teams on ESPN Plus
Boy,
tonight.
people are bitching about this playoff game being on Peacock.
Yeah, I can see why.
I can see why, because you've got to go out. Not only, it's one. The good majority of our listeners probably have ESPN Plus. I don't know if I do, but I think a good majority, and we've got to play on this game tonight at lanceslog.com.
Which one?
On the BYU Baylor game.
Okay.
But how many people actually have Peacock? I got it one time, like last year, for something. Maybe Noah. I don't know.
I'll never forget why I have Peacock.
Oh,
I know exactly why I have Peacock, because DirecTV during the Super Bowl 2 years ago did a reset of my system, like a factory reset, even sent a message about it, like, hey, we're resetting your system. You're welcome. I'm like, it's in the middle of the Super Bowl. And it was close to halftime, and all of a sudden my credit card, I get a ding on my phone, my credit card, my wife had bought Peacock upstairs so she could watch halftime. She was not going to miss halftime.
I got Peacock for some Olympics. This is typical Jim. Years ago, so I could watch something live.
Yeah.
And you didn't watch, did you?
No, I watched it. And then I never deleted it, so I've had Peacock ever since.
I mean, I would have gotten it to watch Dolphins and Chiefs anyway, but I think I already got it. So I don't think we ever canceled after that Super Bowl halftime. It's the one where 50 Cent was hanging upside down. You remember the halftime I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the Super Bowl champion L.A. Rams.
Oh, that's right.
Cincinnati, Super Bowl 56.
Strong rope.
Yeah, very strong. He was more of a dollar.
Yeah.
Joel Klatt is with us now. Fox Sports at Joel Klatt on Twitter, host of the Joel Klatt Show, as you might have imagined by the name of that program. He is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Klatt? How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys? What's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. We're doing awesome. I tell you what, in the first quarter of that game last night, I thought this is going to be a bloodbath. It may not be Georgia TCU level, but Washington has no answer for the run. The fact that this was even a game in the second half was pretty remarkable.
I mean, Washington's adjustment. And then I thought actually, Michigan got away from what was being successful.
Yeah.
They had those extra offensive linemen in the game, and they were playing big. Washington couldn't handle them when they were playing big and increasing the number of gaps in particular and trying to get on the edge and running that duo play, which was really big for them. And then they started getting into like more of a spread mode, almost like they wanted to feature J.J. McCarthy. And I'm like, hold on. This offense is way better when they're not featuring J.J. McCarthy, and he's a byproduct of what they're able to do. And so, their game plan and what they went away from kind of allowed Washington to adjust, settle down. Then their defense started playing better. And, at that point, when Washington scores before half, in my head, I'm like, Washington's winning the game. They're going to come out. They have the rhythm. They're going to go out there and score to begin the second half. And then the interception, guys, that was really the first moment where I was like, oh, wow, Michigan might hold them. And then they did. That was a tremendous defensive performance from Jesse Minter, the coordinator, from the players. And once again, and you guys know this to be tried and true, and all the fans down there are going to know this as well. The best defensive line wins the national championship, generally speaking. Now, if you get an ungodly quarterback performance like Burrow, maybe you can overcome a defense that's not great. But generally speaking, the rule of thumb since the BCS started is that you've got to have at least a top 30 defense, really more like a top 15 defense in order to win the national championship. And that's remains true here this year.
Klatt, back to your point, with 4:46 left in the first half, I thought the game was going to swing on this moment. I mean, Michigan in the first quarter averaged over 19 yards per rush, and they're sitting there with a fourth and like 2.5 on the 38 of Washington. They call the timeout, they come back out, and they let JJ throw the football. And I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? Like, I liked them going for it there, but if they go down and make that 24-3, game's over. Instead, it flips. Penix goes down, 17-10, like you said, getting ball. I'm like you. I was like, damn, this thing has gotten away from Michigan.
Yeah, and by the way, I think it was the previous series, they had a third down in the red zone and threw a similar route. It was like a flat route, out route, if you will. Same thing happened. It got batted down, and I'm like, well, one, it's a low percentage throw, and like in my mind, I'm like, okay, if you want to throw it, fine, but like no heavy run action, like, no counter action, no pulling. That was a mystery to me. I have no idea. I've seen them, guys. I've called 16 of their games since the start of 21. 16.
Wow.
I cannot tell you how many short yardage situations where it's third down or fourth down inside of 3 yards, they run the wedge dive and just get it. Wedge dive, get it. And their guards just push people, 4 yards down the field. And it didn't matter who they were playing. They did it against Alabama on a couple of short yardage plays. And they didn't do it against Washington? That was shocking. I thought that was a total miss from them and allowed Washington to get back into the game, but their defense bailed them out.
Absolutely. My love for Southern college football comes from my pawpaw, my grandfather, and my dad, James Sr., but even my dad, who's still living, had to say last night how much he loved that style of football. It's ironic to me that you've got to go back to 2020 Alabama to see a spread-like team win the national championship, because Georgia did it like you talked about with defense and just a manageable offensive running and passing short passes. They did it in 21, 22, and now Michigan has done it in 2023. For the old school football people, they got to love the last 3 national champions.
Well, and it's yes, it's tried and true, and yes, it's old school. I think all of those things are true, but I think that the defensive philosophy really shifted. Late in the 2000s, when you had those high-flying offenses, you had those shootout national championships between Clemson and Alabama, and even Nick was adjusting on the offensive side. Here's what ended up happening is in order to defend the RPO, which was more of the early 2011, 12, 13. I think that's really when it became prevalent. Before that it was zone read, and then it became the RPO. And to defend the RPO, defenses started taking bigger risks because they felt like playing zone allowed the offense to really zero in on what I would consider to be a movement key or a conflict defender. And the RPO just killed the conflict defender. So zone was out. And defenses were like, well, we better man up. Well, what you saw was an explosion of offense because it was big plays galore, and you've got quick strike offenses. And remember, for about 5-6 years, it was in vogue to be like, how fast can you go? How quick can you score? And a lot of that was born out of the fact that the defenses were having to play riskier defensive structures, and they were having to play at a super high tempo. So then now let's go to like 2019, 20, and 21. Now defensive coaches get back in the room and they're like, crap, they're scratching their head and they're like, well, what are we going to do? And then they're like, well, who are the best defenses of that era? Like the spread high tempo, hyper tempo. Iowa, Bama to some degree. Northwestern played some great defense. Kansas State played some really good defense. And I'm talking about defenses that could do it without 5 stars littered all over the place. And there were some common themes. While the structures were different, and I'm sorry this is a long answer, but this is really what happened, the evolution of defense. And here's what you got to. Whether you were going to play an odd man front or an even man front didn't really matter. What you had to do was maintain your levels, get hybrid players at the second and third levels in the interior of the field, and limit the explosive plays. You had to. So you went back to zone defense, and you just said, you know what? Rather than allowing some quarterback to snap it 3 or 4 times to go down the field and score like that, we're just going to force them to snap it 8, 9, 10 times, maybe 11 or 12 times, and we're going to bank on the fact that someone on that team is going to make a mistake, whether it's a bad route, a drop pass, a false start. And defenses just started putting the pressure back on the offenses to execute. So now what you see of the last few years is let's get really good on the defensive line, maintain levels of football, limit the explosive plays, put the pressure back on the offense just to execute in order to score. Fine, you can score, but it's going to take you 10 plays, and we're going to do our damnedest to tackle well, line up properly, all these basic things, and that's what you see. Now, it just so happens in order to win at the top level, using that type of philosophy, you've got to be great on the interior of your defensive line. And I would argue the last 3 national champions had college football's best group of defensive tackles. And that's what college football is now, and that's what the evolution of the sport defensively has been in the last 15 years.
Wow, very well done.
Yeah, I mean, they were a textbook tackling team.
Yeah, no doubt.
They don't miss tackles.
No, they don't. Yeah, Sandwich still made one out in the flat, and Herbie even pointed out, or Fowler one, that he missed that tackle 4 times against Alabama, and that was very unlike him.
Boy, he was all over the place.
Boy, he
last
was.
night.
He's a player. Joel Klatt is with us, courtesy of mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to get that bonus. When you use code next round, bet anything, anytime, anywhere at mybookie.ag. However you answer this question will be an overreaction, but I'm going to ask anyway. A fan overreaction. If I'm a Washington fan and I watched that game last night with the best team I've had in decades, do I think I've got what it takes to play in the Big Ten, or do I look at that and say I've still got some work to do?
Probably a bit of both, because a lot of those players are walking out the door. I think it has more to do with that than anything. I made this point on the show I released earlier today. Shameless plug here. You guys can go check it out. My reaction, Joel Klatt show. But I made this point. I thought last night, and you guys might roll your eyes at this, but whatever. I thought last night gave more hope to college football than college football writ large has had in over a decade. For over a decade, it was you had to, no ifs, ands, or buts, average in the top 4 in recruiting classes over a 4-year span in order to win the national championship. You had to be a top 3 or 4 composite talent team to win the national championship. The gap between even national championship game participants was huge. Now, last year notwithstanding, okay? No, I'm thinking more about like the Bama Notre Dame games, or even some of those semifinals when we had like Bama Michigan State, or when we had Clemson Oklahoma when they were destroying them, when we had LSU Oklahoma. Like the gap between even the top teams in college football was massive. And what you've got over the last 2 years is, I think, a squeezing because of the ability of the player to move around and the agency of the player to move around. I think we've got talent dispersing. Now, last night, we saw two teams that weren't in the top 10 in talent composite, that haven't averaged a top 4 recruiting class, and they were easily deserving to be there. Any of the 4 teams could have won the college football playoff. And now you've got a team that wins the national championship that in the last 4 years averaged a recruiting class that was outside of the top 10. You've got a talent composite that was 14, while high, certainly not in the top 5, and a team that won the national championship with only 2 5-star players on their roster. I know you asked a specific question about Washington, but when you talk about hope for the future, how many teams now can look out and say, well, wait, we can do that. We can develop. We can target players. We can target culture. We can get the right 5 stars in the right spot. And we can go and win a national championship because it was just proven that you can do that. And by the way, it's not like they had some sort of easy path. I get it. They didn't play Georgia, but Georgia lost to Alabama. Sorry. That's kind of the way that it goes. And then they beat Alabama. They beat Washington. They beat Ohio State. They beat Penn State. All after the sign stealing story breaks, after the suspension. They have 4 top 10 wins. And now the rest of college football can sit there and they can say, why can't we do that? Why can't we target a year? Even Washington's run to the national championship, TCU's run to the national championship. Think of how many teams now around the country have legitimate hope where they did not have legitimate hope 10 years ago. They just didn't. And now they do. I'm thinking about teams like A&M and Ole Miss. Maybe even Tennessee falls into that. Maybe Michigan State strikes gold with Jonathan Smith. Maybe Oregon can actually do it. Utah can actually do it. Arizona can actually do it. There are a lot of teams now that think that they can go and win the national championship.
Excellent thoughts on just overall college football there from Joel Klatt. It has been fun all season. Next time we talk to Klatt, it'll be draft related a little bit later on. But this is our last visit for a little while. Klatt, it is always fun. We've enjoyed it.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I hope you guys have a great month or so before we start getting into the draft. This one should be a good one. This is going to be a great draft.
Yeah. Did you see Max Homa drive? I know you love golf. Did you see his 470?
Yeah, what did he hit, like a 477-yard drive? or something?
Yeah. You got a 477-yard drive in you?
I don't. I don't. I have played that course, and what they do to that course is silly. If anyone has played Kapalua, the plantation course, they're like, oh, it's a birdie fest out here. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Not for mortals. It's not at all. It's a huge golf course.
Oh, it's the easiest course they play on tour, and you go out there and you're like, my gosh, this place is hard.
Legitimately, and I'm not saying this to brag. I shot a 76 and played out of my mind.
I know. Yeah, I know.
And I'm a scratch player, and they're shooting. They're like, well, I only shot 68.
Yeah. Hey, can you just so you know what LT and I have to put up with, I brought that stat up yesterday about the 477-yard drive, and Brown started lecturing us on it's slightly downhill,
not slightly,
wind at your back,
hard fairways.
He is our golf snob.
It's 477.
There was no lecture. I was just pointing out that everybody hits it long there.
Yeah.
You basically, that was the on-air equivalent of a fact check.
Yeah. Well, I have to do that Studaway.
477 is 477.
Yeah,
asterisk or no asterisk, it's 477.
There was no asterisk. I was just pointing out that is very beneficial, as Klatt said.
I mean, how far did Roy McAvoy's 7-iron go down the road? Would you say like, hey, he had his 7-iron 500 yards? Wouldn't you need the fact that he hit it down the highway?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he won the bet, right?
I do think
he won the bet. Yeah. Drove away with it wasn't McAvoy. It was oh gosh.
Yeah, the other guy.
Why am I
Don Johnson?
Who's the other way? It's not. Was it Shooter McGavin?
I think that's
it. Yeah, Shooter McGavin did it.
No, that's Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the Don Johnson character, right?
David something.
I can't remember.
Gosh,
I don't
that's
know.
going to drive me nuts for the rest of the day.
You can
David Sims.
There you go, David Sims.
There it is.
Good pull.
All right, Klatt, thank you. Always
Well,
fun,
hell,
buddy.
Roy, it's never even crossed my mind to try. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
See you,
You're
buddy.
outta
Thank you. Klatt with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week with us by MyBookie.ag. Sign on right now with code NEXTROUND and get that sign-on bonus. You could use it right away. MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
Bradley, thank you. Thank you, Jody, and everyone else. Just behind the scenes, when our guest is up, that's on the screen. We have, at least currently in this moment of time, that we have our chat on. Of all the screens, 5 screens in here, they do, that screen does 2 things. It's the chat and then the guest in preview. So we could not see you, Bradley, go David Sims. I do appreciate you coming back with all exclamation points the second time. Yeah. David Sims.
Read this.
Klatt got there on his own. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Again, LT, tell us about Hemp Hill, and we'll get to the top of the hour, brought to you by Champions.
205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Make sure your unit is ready to keep up with this changing weather. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
The Burnout with the SEC Network's Peter Burns and Ryan Brown weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day, your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality, service, and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, let's set the table for basketball before we get back to a little football conversation. LT's got 4 downs all in this hour. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, or LT, as I just called him. Ryan Brown drinking a nice ice cold Diet Coke.
I don't like an ice warm, like an ice cold.
Yeah, I'll take the ice cold one, please.
Yeah, that's Rockstar. He's behind the big board in there. Back row right now is Scott and Tyler. Lunsford is off doing other analytic stuff right now. Taylor Korn, Emily Grace, everything in the social media platform over there. They're managing that, sending out great stuff throughout the day. Always appreciate some extended time there with Joel Klatt. As Bobby says, I always feel smarter about football after listening to Klatt. He does have some deep, sometimes long, but it's not long to me if it's knowledgeable and entertaining, and that's what Klatt is to me. I always appreciate his knowledge like Bobby does. Bobby making a point, Brown, we haven't brought up yet. Bobby says Alabama finished 5th in the AP poll, Georgia 4th. Tell everybody about what you brought up earlier before the show.
Well, I'm just, Alabama beat Georgia head-to-head and is the SEC champion. Again, it's an Associated Press poll, so it doesn't really matter. And I've always said people should be able to vote the way they want to vote. It's their vote. I just find it curious that you lost in overtime to the national champion on the heels of beating Georgia, and Georgia still finishes in front of you. Is kind of weird to me, but again, it is the Associated Press top 25. It really has no meaning whatsoever.
But to people's point over there, I think that comment from Bobby, it moved so fast in our chat room, and we're blessed by that, that it was a discussion over who will decide the wild cards, not the automatic bids, and we're going to keep the committee.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And not the AP poll or something like that. We're going to do the committee.
I think we just go back to the BCS poll formula.
Yeah, I think with 12, I don't think we need a committee.
We don't. I think the committee is a complete waste of time and nothing but window dressing. You know who the top 4 teams are going to be. You just got to put those in some sort of order. And then you
determine. Those are automatic bids. For those who are not familiar, the top 4 must be conference champions. They'll be the 4 highest rated, which is rated by the committee. Conference champions.
I think, and we did it every year, the BCS versus the committee, and it was almost always the same. So why not just go back to the BCS poll, put it out every week. Let's start week 1 with it. So everybody knows where they stand from day 1, and you can follow your progression and see where you are in relation to the other teams in the playoffs and in relation to the playoff spots. Let's just do the BCS poll, be done with this silly committee and all that stuff.
There are some people that believe the SEC, Roy Kramer and his team are the ones that designed the BCS, how it was used, the way the formula was. And there was some belief that because of the SEC's preseason rankings in the AP poll and the coaches poll that they had worked up a formula that was very beneficial to the SEC.
Well, thank God we got a committee in there that didn't benefit the SEC. I mean, the SEC frequently had 2 teams in it, and
I'm just saying what people said.
I know. Yes. Well, I'm just saying the committee didn't do any different, by the way.
Yeah. We will see, but right now it is going to be the committee, again, like in the past, to come up with the ranking of the automatic bids and then the conference champions, wild cards, the non-conference champions, the wild cards there. More on that 12-team playoff and way too early top 25s. And Forrester, for your benefit, we'll do Barrett Sallee, CBS, his mock 12, what it will look like way too early, and then we'll run through some of the preseason top 25s that are way too early, as we always do the day after the national championship game. Michigan is your national champion. Big win for them last night. No word yet on Jim Harbaugh's next game as a head coach, whether it's with Michigan or an NFL team. If that breaks, or if the Bill Belichick story breaks, we will let you know. Right now, Belichick's still the coach in New England. Our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics want to help you out if something breaks in your life or if you tear something or pull something. Remember this number for Precision Sports, 205-512-3885, 512-3885. These are the folks I use. LT has used them. He knows these folks very well. PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024.
Ex-wife was there yesterday seeing Dr. Michael Patterson. She banged her foot up a little bit, thought she might have broken a bone, went to see him, had to get an air cast, And her text to me is he's extremely nice.
He is a nice guy.
That's the type of people you will deal with at Precision.
And very thorough as well. So if you bang something up or tweak something, it's the place to go. Let 2024 be the year Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics gets your life back on track. Orthopedic care is better together. Find your provider today, again, by calling 205-512-3885. If you ever need that number, hit me up on social media. I'll pass it along to you. Or you can easily go to their website, precisionsportsortho.com/2024. precisionsportsortho.com/2024. All right. Barrett Sallee put out what he thinks the playoffs will look like next year. Remember, top 4 seeds, conference champions. He has Georgia winning the SEC, Michigan winning the Big Ten, Clemson winning the ACC, Oklahoma State winning the Big 12, wild card teams, Texas, Alabama, Washington, Notre Dame, Utah, Ole Miss, Tulane, and Boise State. Tulane and Boise State at this point would be group of 5 teams.
A little too heavy in the group of 5, in my opinion, there.
Yeah, he's probably still going by the 6x6. We're going to change to the 5-7, which would kick Tulane out. Just for, you know what, in giggles, that would have Boise State on the road at Texas, Tulane on the road at Alabama, Ole Miss on the road at Washington, Utah on the road at Notre Dame. Winners play out.
By the way, of all these we've done, that's my least favorite one. Like every week when we've done, here's what the 12 team would look like.
It doesn't excite you too much,
No,
does it?
that's my least favorite one we've done all year. No offense, Barrett.
So now to getting to the actual, the way it's going to look next year with everybody in their own place.
I don't think that's the way it'll look.
I mean, bring it back to us, and then we'll do some way too earlys, Forrester. To your point, I'm fascinated because some of these way too early top 25s, I've looked at some teams they've got from like 12 to 25.
Yeah.
And I am fascinated to see how we take an SEC team that has lost its third game and compare it to a Big 12 or an ACC team that only has 1 loss, or a Big 10 team that has lost its third game and compare it to a Big 12 or an ACC
Well,
team.
if they go by their verbiage this year, best team. It wasn't most deserving. They really had the definition of best team. And like this year, Missouri was one of the 12 best teams. So although Missouri ended up with 2 losses, I don't know if I've got an example of a 3-loss team. I mean, Arizona, you brought them up.
Yeah.
LSU.
Well, my point being is I believe the SEC first, Big 10 second. There's going to be a big gap on schedule strength.
Yeah, well, that's why I think the SEC is going to get between 3 and 4 every year, and the same with the Big Ten.
If they actually treat schedule strength correctly, we'll find out if they end up doing this. Here are some, we'll just let Forrester bounce through these. You pick whoever you want to put up there. This is Jesse Simonton on 3 Sports, I believe. His way too early. This is SEC, 1, 2, 3, and then Oregon at number 4.
Big Ten.
What do you think about Oregon? It's a Big Ten champion. Dylan Gabriel, Dan Lanning.
You're not going to have – it's going to be 0 drop-off at quarterback. And I know people aren't going to believe that, but in that system, Dylan Gabriel will be a great point guard.
Yeah, but probably fits him better than the Oklahoma system did, right?
I would say so, yeah.
A lot more deep passes in the Levy system than the short passes that you get out at Oregon. I would tell you this right off the bat, Dan Lanning, better football coach than he is an announcer.
Oh, you didn't like his work?
See, I had him
a little flat.
He was muted on the other TV. I saw the mustache, though. I lean Ohio State now with what they're doing in the portal to win the Big Ten. And if they can't be any more motivated now that Michigan just won a national championship.
No doubt.
So keep in mind as you look at this, Brownie, Oregon, just where Oregon is, where Ole Miss is, as we move through some of these. Go ahead, more on Jesse.
I was just going to make the point, and I think this is going to be consistent. Every team in that top 10, except for Notre Dame, is SEC or Big Ten.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I mean, that is...
Utah's the first Big 12, right?
Yep. Then right back to the SEC with Oklahoma and LSU.
And is Florida State and Clemson at 17 and 18 the top ACC?
That is correct. Yep. And, Notre Dame plays kind of a quasi-ACC schedule,
yeah, I
but
think
they're
when Jesse was filling this out, he was like, I forgot the ACC. Because he goes on quite the run there.
Yes. Okay, who's next for us? Way too early, top 20. R.J. Young, this is from Fox College Football. Michigan, Georgia. I mean, all due respect, R.J.,
I'll let RJ come in here with a 12 gauge, and he can blow off my leg if Michigan wins back-to-back.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know if RJ's got a 12.
I'm just saying. I mean, do you guys believe there's any way? There is talk now, and Harbaugh even brought this up. We will have the most guys ever drafted coming off this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michigan is, they're losing a lot, and they're probably going to lose their head coach. So that
would be shocking.
Yeah, and again, you just kind of play the do factor, right? They have not won one, and now Georgia had not won one in quite a while. They won back-to-back, but it had been longer for Michigan to win an outright. So I don't know. I think Michigan falls off.
I texted a couple of my friends last night. One I won't give you because it's a name drop, but Chris Brees, who I used to work with, Michigan grad, to your point about people leaving the program. Thanks, man. I was congratulating him on the national championship. Thanks, man. It was this year or never for us. Thinking about everybody.
That's what most
leaving.
Michigan fans I talk to have said.
Rob Carlin, Maryland grad, worked with him here in Birmingham, married a Michigan girl. Go Blue, excited for her. It was this year or never for them. Two different guys, two different states. Same feeling there.
Is Lucy Liu the one that you don't want to name drop?
Yeah,
on?
I've got to know who
any connection you've got with a Michigan.
Yeah. I've got to know who you consider a name drop.
Tracy Wolfson. I
That's
texted
not a
her
name
congratulations. She texted back, thanks, Jim. Hope you guys are doing well.
We are.
No thoughts on it was now or never for Tracy, who was decked out in a number 4 jersey and a hat playing. She didn't have to do the game. She was a fan. She goes back to her NFL coverage this week. William Jackson, who I used to work with, Michigan grad. I just so many Michigan people in my life. I was texting him last night, congratulations.
It was kind of weird. I ran into Rich Eisen. I don't know Rich, but I ran into him at the Rose Bowl. And, I mean, he was decked out in Michigan gear. There was no – and I know he's a lifelong Michigan fan, Rich Eisen is. But, I mean, he looked like just another fan in the Michigan gear.
I think it shows you that a lot of these guys believe the moment was last night. And I got a text from our buddy Brock just to break down on – because I told him, I was like, man, it's going to be – you will be overwhelmed with how many Michigan people are going to take over that building. He's like, I think purple and gold showing up. But he texted last night, it was 65-35, and it looked about that.
Yeah, that's about what it was in Pasadena, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 70-30, 65-35.
Yeah, so – interesting. More. We got more of the way too early. Top
Who's
25.
this? Who we got here?
That's Brandon Marcello, our buddy.
I like Brandon.
Roll damn tide, Brandon. Alabama, Texas, Georgia. There's Oregon again.
I mean, Oregon's not going anywhere.
There's Ole Miss at 6, Missouri at 7, Oklahoma, Michigan, Penn State. No Notre Dame in that top 10.
Yeah, he's got them at 12. And again, this has become consistent. The ACC does not show up until you get into the teens.
Right, you know what jumps out to me? What Brandon's got in the top 25.
What's that?
USC.
No.
Oh. Colorado?
Colorado.
Yeah.
Back in September, we would have said,
technically that's 27. Brandon being different goes top 30.
Okay.
Well, it fits better.
Well, still, I mean, to be 27, they're going to win 8 games.
Any more? Who else do we have, Forrester? The next one up is... Oh, Brad Crawford. This is Brad from 24/7. Am I right about that?
That is right.
He goes Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama. What do they have in common?
That's 4 teams in the SEC.
And then he's like, oh, damn, I forgot the Big Ten.
That's right. Wait a minute.
Then he goes Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, then back to the SEC with Missouri, so 5 of the top 8 SEC, then Notre Dame, then Tennessee, so 6 of the top 10.
If it wasn't for Notre Dame, it looks like all the top 10 would be consensus SEC and Big Ten.
There's no doubt it would be.
Yeah,
Notre Dame's like the only thing that ever breaks that up.
And that's my point on schedule strength. And, I mean,
there's no doubt the SEC and the Big Ten are going to have a stronger strength of schedule than ACC and Big 12. It's just the way it is.
So to me, 3 losses in the SEC
I agree.
equals 1 loss in the ACC.
I don't know if I'd
12.
go that far, but I do think the SEC and the Big Ten will more often get the benefit of the doubt if it's 2 teams side by side than the ACC or the Big 12.
I think there's going to be a lot of years, though, where we're going to say this 3-loss SEC team is better than that 1-loss ACC team. Surprising, none of these top 25s have had the Auburn Tigers in.
They have not.
No, that's right. And Andrew says I'd probably pick Auburn to be in the top 25 before
I would too.
Colorado.
I still want to see how the quarterback situation shakes out. I mean, if you're telling me Peyton Thorne is the guy, I'm not positive about
Jay says, LOL, Ole Miss at number 3.
That does feel a touch high.
Yeah.
Off-season sexy pick. You guys called it last week
No
when we were in
doubt.
Pasadena. Is there any more for us, or is that it? That is, so he's waving his hands. No, that is it.
That's a lot.
All right. We're late to do our 4 downs here. You okay doing 4 downs in the last segment?
Yeah, I don't
Well,
care.
I normally hate that, man, but I guess if we got to do it.
Okay, 4 downs in the last segment. Show being brought to you today in part by our friends at Harbin's Outdoors. LT, tell us about the great folks at Harbin's.
Yeah, look, Scott's going to show you my backyard. I'm telling you, it was a complete eyesore. I was embarrassed to even walk back there. I got Jeremy and the guys to come out. They gave me that estimate.
I thought it was a little too much. You used to blindfold Brown and me when you walked us through the
backyard.
Do not look.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you, those two right there, y'all aren't going to believe this.
Those dogs?
The storm, they started whining in their crate, so I let them in bed last night. They barked. I did not sleep last night. They were such a pain in the ass.
Those dogs were a pain in the ass?
I will 100% believe that, Lance.
I am
shocked.
They have been so good the last week, but last night was a disaster with the storm.
That was a pretty big storm.
But this is one of the reasons I got the backyard. Not only aesthetically does it look good, but I've also got a little yard to let them run and get out some of that energy. But whatever the project is, Jeremy will sit down with you. He came up with a lot of these ideas. We went back and forth. This is what we came up with. They're an award-winning landscape company specializing in installing custom fiberglass pools, landscaping, and hardscaping. Harbin's team does it all, from the install to the lighting, final hardscapes around the pool, everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram at Harbins_outdoors, or you can call or text Jeremy directly, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718.
Rusty says Brown would have already left that gate open for those two.
See if you're going to find your way back.
That's what I told Maddie. I was like, what am I going to do with them? And she was like, open the front door and you won't have any problems.
That's right. Let them see that storm.
Take the leash, take the collar off of them that has our phone number on it, and just let
by the
them
way,
go.
2 clients in one. So my AC units are right up. One of them's close to the new privacy fence, and Bullet was missing. I didn't know where he had gone, and he's sitting at the front door. Well, went back out in the backyard. He jumps up on the unit and jumps over the privacy fence.
Yeah. Now that they know they can do that,
I know
it'll be free reign at that point.
Taller friend, you got to put in the green monster.
It's like there used to be an old show on when I was a kid in reruns when I'd get off the bus. It was called Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, I remember it.
And they had tunnels out of the prison camp. They've got their way out now.
They do.
They know their way out. Trash in the next segment when we come back. My little dogs last night, Maggie's out of town. All they wanted to do was come upstairs and watch the national championship game with me. They both laid there right next to me, just staring at the TV.
They have Michigan in the under.
They were both going Huskies.
That was a bad storm. That was the first big storm I've had Bullet, so I didn't know how he was going to react. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Trash is in the next segment. This is TNR.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There's only one Champy's world-famous fried chicken. Poor boy's tenders, full fried chicken plates, and a little bit of the Mississippi Delta with chicken on a stick and hot tamales. On your way to or from the big game on Highway 119 in Alabaster, stop by Champy's Chicken.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239 equal housing lender.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
All right, 228 days until week 0, Florida State and Georgia Tech. That first game in week 0 back in Dublin. Before we get to trash, tell us about mybookie.ag. Real quickly, the lines for next year's national championship, not the line, the betting odds to win the national championship go in this order. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. Oregon is 5. Texas and Ole Miss. Everyone else is much more than plus 11.
Yeah, I'll say this. The odds look a little longer, and I saw a odds maker talking about, with the 12-team expansion now, that and this is kind of echoing Joel Klatt's point. We do have parity now in college football, and so I think you can grab some of these. I mean, A&M, Elko, year one, are they going to win a national championship? Probably not, but 40-1 is. I mean, look, USC could immediately bounce back, right?
Yeah. Clemson, you don't know, but plus 2,000 and bet MGM there. Penn State got some talent. I don't know. There's some gambles down there for real. MyBookie's lines vary a little bit. MyBookie.ag, you can play all those futures there as well.
Tonight, Alabama minus 11.5 on the hardwood against South Carolina. The Auburn Tigers favored 7.5 at home against Texas A&M. That big game Jim mentioned, top 25 teams. Baylor, a 4-point favorite over BYU there in Waco. You can play all those games. The NFL games this weekend. All of that right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round, mybookie.ag. Now, when you use code next round, they give you a special bonus when you sign on and make your initial deposit. You can use that bonus right away. You win once. It is yours and yours forever. It's not one of those you got to win 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 times to get. You can play with it right away at mybookie.ag, code next round. They also have a casino there. You play blackjack, play table games, even live table games with live dealers right there at mybookie.ag. Refer a friend, get a bonus. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff there. But don't forget code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag to get that initial deposit bonus. mybookie.ag, code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. mybookie.ag, code next round.
Landmine Believer wants to know, is Louisiana Lance going to run it back next season?
I don't know yet. I got to take a long look at this. I want to see how this portal shakes out.
Not without Jaden Daniels. That was the reason you were going.
You a Garrett Nussmeier guy?
You had the Heisman Trophy winner. You just know the defense was going to suck so
I
bad.
thought the defense was going to be improved. I thought it was more about the combination of Jaden and Brian Kelly in year 2.
Yeah, Troy says, I could be convinced to put some money down on Oregon and Texas. All of a sudden, Oregon sliding in with Ole Miss as your sexy offseason picks.
I want to remind you real quick, the only thing that would make me hesitant of that is Dan Lanning in big games has been awful. And I still haven't seen Sark. Look, I know they got to a college football playoff, and it was an A year for him. But I still want to see him win that big game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. One thing before we get to trash, boy, the Kardashians, they print money. Kourtney Kardashian, I don't know which one she is.
Kourtney is the one.
She's the one that's on social media.
She's the one. Oh, I don't even.
She's not the one that supposedly OJ's her dad, right?
No, I think Kourtney is the one that has.
Well, we have no idea.
I don't have a clue.
She was married to that Scott guy, I think.
Yeah, Scott Baker.
No, it was like Dickhead or something.
Yeah. Anyway, Kourtney Kardashian now has a gummy supplement that is on the market, and it's
THC.
No THC. It's to help you with bringing back less stress. Helps you alleviate bloating. Also helps you relax and vaginal care. So
Okay.
as
Is it called Midol?
So as you would say, perfect for me.
If you ordered any yet in bulk. What's the product called?
It's called Lemmy. L-E-M-M-E. Lemmy.
Can I do a breaking news story to just get a quick reaction?
Yeah. Before you let me get to trash, you can do that, yes.
The Titans have fired Mike Vrabel. Are you surprised at that?
Oh, I
That's
am.
according to Adam Schefter, by the way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's good sourcing.
I mean, I think he's a great football coach. They won their final game when they had nothing to play for. Maybe that's just a precursor to him being the next coach in New England.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, when I was watching the end of the Titans game the other day against the Jags, and I saw him and Derrick Henry embrace, and whoever was on the broadcast team was like, I wonder if that's it for Derrick Henry. And then the other guy was like, I wonder if that's it for both of them.
Yeah. That's a to me an odd firing. I mean, who are you going to get at Tennessee that's better than Vrabel?
This is going to contradict something I said earlier. Like, I do think in the NFL it's a more stress-free job compared to what you get in college football. But, I mean, Mike Vrabel was the number 1 seed just 2 years ago.
No, I know. And in college, if Mike Vrabel gets fired, it's probably minimum $40 million buyout.
Yeah.
I bet he ain't getting that to walk away from Tennessee.
Boy, if I had a college opening, I'd love me some Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean,
bet he could recruit.
Michael is saying over there, I'll take him as Bama's DC.
Well,
Hey, look, I mean, that guy, he knows how to coach.
He'll be an NFL head coach.
Motivates his team, in my opinion. They have a quarterback problem. They didn't have a team problem, in my opinion. Let's do trash, Rockstar. Hit it.
Father of 2, Dale Decker, suffers from a rare and seemingly incurable condition that leads to him suffering up to 100 unwanted orgasms a day.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
I've always wondered about that. Up to 100 unwanted orgasms a day.
So I can have 150.
Yeah, my question is, how many did he want?
Yeah.
Well, it would take 75.
I've always thought, do you know what you envision? Something like if you're going to a stadium for the first time or somewhere you've never been, or you're going to meet somebody for the first time, you've never seen their face, you kind of envision based on voice or whatever. Like in that sound clip, there's got to be video with it.
There is. I think he's literally
I've
on
seen
his
it.
knees crawling.
He's like in a field.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have not seen this.
No,
I
I've seen
thought
the
he
video.
was
He's in a field. He is, yeah.
Because of the music?
There's something about it.
It's like a field of lilies.
I envision him in a field.
The flowers, not the female.
Just overwhelmed with pain.
I don't think it matters for
Or
him.
joy.
Brad. Flowers or females.
Yes.
Hey, are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every single step of the process. Visit their location, Highway 280 in Birmingham. You can apply at mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Wow, I had no idea he was American in Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
Rockstar is saying.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, because the news report's British.
So how do you cure this thing?
Get married.
Del Deca.
That's a good line.
Thank you.
That's a really good line.
Thank you.
Is this him?
See, there he is. He's crawling around in the field. I've seen it.
It looks like Cam from Modern Family.
It really does, yes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, a little bit of Hugh Freeze's haircut.
I can't see enough. Is that him with his old lady right there in the top right? Yeah. Whoa, she's tiny. Or he's big. One of the two.
Guess what she doesn't have to do?
Yeah, that's true. She gets every night off.
Yeah, there's no headaches with her.
Yes.
I take back my Hugh Freeze comment.
Yeah, I've never seen you wear that haircut, no.
Damn, they got some peroxide up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Okay, so
why is he sitting with his hands crossed on his lap, Rockstar?
What's on his knuckles?
Oh, he's got tat
I
knuckles
see the
too.
word free.
Free?
I don't know what's on the left hand. I see free on the right.
I'll bet anything it says bird.
So, Dunaway, you're a
That's a
coffee
good line,
drinker.
Brad.
Thank you.
So
I drank coffee last night.
Really?
Yep. It was just cold and rainy. I was watching the game, and it just screamed cup of coffee. Now, my coffee is far from what.
Okay, look at the packaging. What do you think this is all about? Biohazard coffee.
I hope it's not in the next round store where our coffee is the best in the world.
Yeah, I think it's all about getting attention. This is like,
well, they got attention.
yeah.
It's
What's the water that Lunsford drinks? Death. What's it
Death
called?
Wish.
Death
Liquid.
Wish. Death Liquid. Liquid Death.
Okay,
yeah.
Liquid Death. Okay, Biohazard Coffee recognizes the strongest coffee in the world. It has a caffeine content of 928 milligrams per 12-ounce cup, which is more than double the daily recommended dose of caffeine and a lot more than most energy drinks. Now, the title of the world's strongest coffee has been attributed to various brands over the last decade. In 2013, Death Wish, the blend that promised 200% the caffeine content of the average dark roast. And then there was the Black Insomnia Coffee, a brand that boasted a caffeine content of 702 milligrams per 12-ounce cup. But now we have another title holder. This one's going to be tough to beat. It's Biohazard, launched in 2016. The FDA recommends up to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day for adults with no increased risk factors like heart disease, also mentioning that rapidly consuming around 1,200 milligrams of caffeine is enough to induce poisoning-like symptoms such as seizures.
Why would you even want to do this?
Well, they said it's definitely a risky beverage to consume, especially if you're not used to caffeine.
Oh, it's just like that. Remember Jolt Cola? Dude, that guy had 2 Jolt Colas. You're never going to sleep again.
Yeah, but that got shut down too, right?
Yeah.
Didn't the FDA shut Jolt Cola down?
Surge, because Surge was another one that was highly caffeinated.
Where's the lemonade that's jacking people
Panera.
up? Is that at Panera?
Yeah.
Whoa, what's happening there? I hadn't heard that.
It killed that one girl up in New York.
What's going on there?
Allegedly. Is what,
I bet
is what the lawyers for Panera
Well,
would like
I'm
you to
sure,
say.
but she drank the lemonade and she's dead.
What happened? What's the deal with that lemonade?
It's a high energy type. Tyler, tell us the story.
So Panera has a line of lemonade called Charged Lemonade, and it's basically an energy drink that looks like lemonade and tastes like lemonade, except none of it is labeled as an energy drink.
Yeah.
And so this one girl goes in to study and get some work done, and she gets a Charged Lemonade, and she had a heart condition, so it killed her.
Yeah, so previous.
And then it also caused the death of another girl.
Well, that's 2.
I would just probably, Panera's got a lot of things going on. I'd probably just pull that charge, wouldn't you?
I'll pull the old lemonade there, definitely, yeah. I don't think anybody's coming in for that.
Minute Maid drinks good.
Don't it?
So I think this company wants their employees a little skinnier. A Chinese company has replaced its year-end employee bonus program with another scheme designed to promote exercise, enticing financial rewards for employees who exercise on a daily basis. Guangdong Dongpo Paper.
That's not true.
That's my favorite paper company.
It is good. They are consistent.
It's a paper company in China, recently made international headlines for replacing its traditional performance-based employee bonus scheme with one based on athletic performance. To promote a healthy lifestyle among its 100 employees, management decided to reward them based on how much they exercise. For example, an employee will be eligible for a full monthly bonus if they run 30 miles a month. They'll get 60% for running 25 miles and 30% for 20 miles.
That's just a mile a day for 20 days out of a month?
I think it says average 2 miles a day.
Well, I mean, no. So you could do 2 miles every other day.
There again, how are you policing this? Like, I mean, if I come in and say, I ran 2 miles yesterday, where's my money?
Cheat. They're going to put their Apple Watch
Of
on their
course,
dog.
yes.
And like, good God, you ran 20 miles yesterday? I did.
It's a communist government. This is China, right?
Yeah. Well, they'd probably go shoot them.
They're tracking us.
Yeah.
They probably are, but everybody knows a runner, right?
Yeah.
Hey, do you mind doing me a solid? I'll buy you dinner next
Just
week.
wear this watch for 2 miles. That's all I need.
Well, I got friends of ours who every morning, by the time I get in here to work, the first thing I see on my timeline is, 13 wet miles this morning, 7 cold miles this morning.
Brittany Decker?
Brittany and Christina Chambers, and I'm always like, my goodness, girls. I'm just now sitting down to my cup of normal coffee, and you've already knocked out
you're gonna
20
be
miles
off,
between you.
Skinning off at 177 soon, right?
177 at some point.
Okay, Rockstar put this together. I love this. It's 100-year-old predictions about 2024.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, so a growing problem. Arthur Dean, whose parental advice column appeared in newspapers across the country, expressed concerns about American dietary habits. He went on to say in 1924, quote, I sometimes wonder what our stomachs will look like and be like in 100 years from now.
Oh, he's right.
Will we have any teeth at all? Will there be any color on our face except paint? Will the men have any height to speak of, or will they be all girth? Will people mostly be all latitude and no longitude? Longitude.
We're just going to be fat little stumps.
Yeah, I mean, he started out okay, but I think he went a little too far.
We do look different.
Yeah, not
we're
that different.
We're taller and bigger, but we're
As funny as it is and as ridiculous as it is, I feel like we're close to that Wall-E thing where we all have those little chairs that were fat and with the chairs that just hover everywhere so we don't have to get up.
Yeah.
It's funny to see, but it's like, I think that's coming.
Well, I mean, in 2007, the iPhone debuted, and shortly after that, they started doing stories about humans becoming shrimp-like. And boy, I mean, you look at everybody's starting to get a little bit more hunchback, looking at their computer and everything.
So that was a swing and a miss by that
They
first guy.
predicted most popular music will be in 2024 genre.
What did it sound like in 2024? 1924?
No, I like the ones.
Turn it down!
No, do the ones where I bet a girl.
I got a girl a flower. She gave me her love. We had rhubarb pie.
Actually, they predict jazz. Swing and a miss again.
Yep, swing and a miss. So we're 0 for 2.
Well, they didn't know, Elvis hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
They didn't know rock and roll was going to come.
That's why you don't make these predictions.
The Swedish architect Ben Borkson predicted that U.S. cities will look like, he said, in the city of 100 years from now, I see 3-deck roads, speedways through the heart of town, skyscrapers with entrances for automobiles as high as 15 stories, monorail expresses to the suburbs replacing streetcars, and motor omnibuses.
Oh, boy, nailed this one.
He nailed it.
He's spot on.
But he said because of the popularity of the car, this is where he swings and misses. Horses will be near extinction or only found in zoos of 2024.
Yeah,
Not sure you can't bet in a zoo.
Yeah,
You can't, but-
bit a bit. He missed that part, but boy, he was good early.
Hey, but the number of horses that existed back then compared to the number of horses that are alive now, I bet it's down.
Well, it's probably down, yeah.
You know, when we, our tour guide in Montana when we were in Yellowstone, she rode a horse to and from high school. And she had just graduated 2 years before.
So, like, she had tied up out front?
Yeah. No, I swear, there's
For 8
towns.
hours?
And anybody that's been out there, like, you can go to back towns and you will see horses that are actually tied up.
Where did you put your parking decal? Just back right home?
I don't know how you do that.
That horse would kick you.
Yeah. And finally, New York Daily News reporter said, quote, we will have a woman president, woman politicians and police. As women will occupy all the highest positions, naturally men will be compelled to do all the labor.
Of
Those
course,
who are
yeah.
not physically fit
Naturally will do all the work.
Such jobs will have to stay home and wait on the babies or mind the pets.
I ain't
You won't be
minding a
doing
pet.
anything. The men are still going to have to do the work,
Yeah.
obviously.
Here's the biggest swing and miss.
Okay.
Finally, Sir Kingsley Wood, a British politician, speaking at a 1924 dinner in London, told his audience, quote, no doubt by 2024, the average life expectancy will at least be 100 years, and a person at 75 will be a relatively young man.
Younger than ever before, but we're still not to the 100-year life
I
expectancy.
think he didn't factor in the fact that we like vices a lot,
Yeah.
the human race,
Yep.
and population control.
It's true.
They invented they were smoking cigarettes in 1924. So
Yes.
we had the cig back then. All right, that is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, buying a home, major milestone in life, getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That is why we're proud to partner with the friends at Mortgage Right who do mortgages the right way. Call 205-815-9200. You can apply online, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Mike Vrabel is now out in Nashville. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh's name pops up for Tennessee.
That'd be a good hire. Again, it's an unsettled quarterback situation. Problem for Harbaugh, not a problem for
Would
Tennessee.
not take that job.
I don't think I would either. Yeah. But I tell you what, I'm seeing some people say this. If I'm the Falcons, I am on the phone to Mike Vrabel as quick as I can be.
As quick as you can
I
be.
mean, don't overthink this.
Yeah.
That's a great hire for the Falcons.
All due respect to Todd Bowles, love him as a defensive coordinator. Would love Mike Vrabel as the head coach. Love the way he manages the franchise. When we come back, LT has our 4 downs today. And we'll hear from Bruce Pearl getting ready for the game tonight. That's next on TNR.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
There's only one Champy's world-famous fried chicken. Poor boy's tenders, full fried chicken plates, and a little bit of the Mississippi Delta with chicken on a stick and hot tamales. On your way to or from the big game on Highway 119 in Alabaster, stop by Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954, That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the next round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Before we do 4 downs, Chris Lowe confirming something we'd heard for a while, and what I think should have been automatic through Gus Malzahn's time at head coach at Auburn and through this guy's time at head coach. What were you talking about from Chris Lowe?
Chris Lowe is reporting that Hugh Freeze is going to take over play calling duties for the upcoming 2024 season. I don't think this is a surprise after...
I mean, that's what you're hired to do.
Yeah, he was in and out involved in it this year.
But when Philip Montgomery gets fired, it becomes pretty obvious. I mean, look, that was kind of the scapegoat, and now you got to own it.
Well, you don't hire Hugh Freeze, in my opinion, to be a CEO type coach. He's got to do some of that. You don't hire Gus Malzahn to win press conferences or be a CEO type coach. You hire them because they are brilliant offensive minds. Why would you not want that brilliant offensive mind calling plays on Saturday? He has a gift that he is a great play caller, the ability to see a game and call plays. That's why I would want Hugh Freeze to be my coach. That's what he should be doing on Saturday.
I agree completely. That's what you want. Now, Hugh Freeze himself has said he had to sacrifice a lot of his coaching responsibilities to recruit this program out of the mess that he found it in. So, that time obviously is up. He's got it headed in the right direction of recruiting. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. And now he could go back to being the coach. And you hope it's as successful as you wanted it to be. When he's called plays, he's been pretty darn successful.
Cut 6, rock star Bruce Pearl getting ready to host Texas A&M. Remember, preseason, Texas A&M was picked by the coaches to finish second. They're off to an 0-1 start in conference play after losing at home to LSU. They're going to Neville Arena, where 2-1 in Neville is Buzz Peterson as he goes in there. Not Buzz Peterson, Buzz Williams as he goes into there. And then 5-1 all time against Bruce Pearl. So some success from Buzz against Bruce Pearl. And I don't know if Bruce is playing Deion Sanders here, but he gets asked if this one's going to be personal like it was Saturday against Arkansas.
Some of the guys were talking before the Arkansas game that they were taking that matchup personally because of how that series had gone recently. Do you feel the same vibe about this game? And do you feel like they responded well in terms of, obviously they did in that win?
Look, I hope we do, in the sense that, look, Texas A&M's won in here twice in the last 4 or 5 years, right? They ended our 28-game home win streak. We Gonzaga had lost like a few days beforehand, and we actually held on to the record for not long. So I mean, Texas A&M's just had their way with us, and so we have great respect for them.
That's Bruce Pearl. That game's at 8 tonight. Little T and I will be there to cover that game tonight on our social media platform. Bama goes at 6. Rockstar Gimme cut 7. Nate Oates talking about Alabama escaping Nashville. South Carolina beat Mississippi State, so it's 2 unbeaten teams tonight, 6 o'clock in Coleman Coliseum.
No games, whether they're home, on the road. I mean, you saw it with Arkansas has been one of the better teams in our league since I've gotten this league, and they're at home and took a big L. The conference games are tough games no matter who you play, whether they're at home or on the road. I mean, you look at LSU, Texas A&M, another one that. So our guys got to figure that out. There's no easy games, whether it's a home game, road game. We made it look easy last year at times, but that's not the way it typically is. It's our guys got to get a little bit more killer instinct, and they got to understand that every possession is going to be a tough possession. And as soon as they let their foot off the gas, other teams going to make a run, and that's what happened to us Saturday.
Boy, I mean, take Vandy out, and Vandy played Alabama within 3. He's right. There is no easy game in this league this year.
No, and you wonder if the defensive philosophy is going to change at all. Is it just going to be we're going to try to outscore everyone? Because every one of their losses, they've given up 80-plus.
Yeah.
South Carolina is
better than advertised. I mean, they're 13-1 this year.
They were picked dead last in the conference.
Dead last.
13-1.
Behind Vandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lamont Pearson,
He's done a great
job so far.
Yeah.
Slice brings us our 4 downs every day. Tell us about Slice, LT.
4 great locations, a 5th coming soon to Homewood. It's local pizza, local ingredients created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers continue to celebrate his legacy. Get out, see Jason Chris. Tell him the next round sent you. 4 locations now: Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Coming soon to Homewood. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
More yards next year. Ole Miss's leading rusher or Quinnshon Judkins at Ohio State?
Ole Miss's leading rusher. I think Judkins, right now, the reason I would answer this is Trayvon Henderson's still there, so I think he's going to go split carries. And Lane loves finding a good running back and feeding the heck out of that guy. So I'll go Ole Miss's leading rusher.
Ulysses Bentley is coming back.
Yep.
He made that announcement last night. I, too, would go Ole Miss's leading rusher. But
I don't know if it'll be Bentley.
We'll see about
He's
Judkins.
got the experience, but
we'll see about
Second
Judkins.
down.
I don't love this Quinnshon Judkins move. I don't know why. Like, I would have loved it if he had gone to Auburn. Would have loved it if he'd gone to LSU even more. Would have loved it if he went to Texas A&M.
No, I think it's a good move for him.
I don't know about Ohio State.
I think it's a good move. Off the board first in May, the 2 quarterbacks from last night, Michael Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy?
My gut says you believe it's Michael Penix Jr. I fell out of love watching the pressure influence Michael Penix Jr. I no longer want him in Tampa Bay. You can have him in Atlanta.
So are you still
now,
a
Scott.
Jalen Milroe fan?
No, I'm not for my Buccaneers, no.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him at Alabama, but I don't like either one of these guys in the NFL, but I think Penix comes off first.
I think Penix will come off first.
Penix will come off first. What is the speculation on McCarthy?
Probably
Second
lost
round?
a little stock. No, McCarthy's still first round, first round, yeah.
Third down.
We know in the NFL, you get that kind of pressure every Sunday.
Yes, you do.
People are around your feet.
But I'll
they're
never
in your comfort zone.
Forget when it was Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. People were like, I don't think C.J. Stroud can handle the pressure in the NFL.
And
so you just don't really know.
Am I wrong that Penix has a little bit of a wind-up in his throw?
It does seem like a longer.
I feel like a little bit from.
But the release is actually kind of quick.
I know, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a wind-up, which kills you in the NFL.
Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, is 46 years old today. Better Chad career. This is awful. Chad Johnson or Chad Kroger from Nickelback?
Chad Kroger, sadly.
Nickelback is not as bad as
Oh,
people
no,
it's a punchline.
I was just looking for it is a punchline. It's like people that are afraid of clowns.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not as awful as people think they're out
He's
to
a
be.
producer. Wasn't he married to Avril Lavigne?
He
Or
was
is
married to Avril Lavigne.
Lavigne.
Ocho Cinco for a minute was, top 2 or 3 receivers.
So those are the 2 best Chads you could find, or
Yeah.
you just had to find one that was close to Ocho Cinco?
You find me another Chad.
There used to be a
Smith,
Chad the Country. Is that still a country?
Yeah, still country.
Chad Smith, is he the Red Hot Chili Pepper drummer?
Peppers drummer.
Looks like Will Ferrell. Yes, according to
Chadwick Boswick.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Ocho Cinco.
I'll go Ocho Cinco.
4th down.
Dave Matthews, 57 today. Ultimately better career, Dave Matthews or Dak Prescott?
Patrick, I'll answer for him really quickly, who's seen Dave Matthews, I believe, 131 times. Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
I am no fan of Dave Matthews' music, but he's had a better career than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just saying ultimately. I mean, Dave Matthews probably can still sell out venues for a long time.
He's still doing it. Sirius XM channel for the
But
longest time.
Dak is selling out venues too.
But if Dak busts out this year and wins a Super Bowl, he's still a really young quarterback.
The chat room, Florida Chads, Hanging Chads are probably the most popular Chads of all
That's true.
time.
Yeah, I did not like those Chads.
Yeah,
That was,
the old
got a
Hanging
little
Chads
annoying.
back in the day. Patrick confirming his number now. It's 53 times. 53 times.
Bobby says 57 that he's seen DMB.
Bobby has
My
seen him 57.
gosh.
What a competition we have going there. Bobby, it's like Bobby is Michigan and Patrick is Alabama trying to catch up on the all-time wins.
Hey, these ants are marching, aren't they?
Like, I don't know who I've seen the most, but it's not double digits.
No.
Like, you got to put effort into
I have not seen a single act double digits. Nowhere close, really.
I mean, Patrick and I are friends on Instagram, and I
Right.
think he goes at least twice a summer, it seems like.
What's your Pearl Jam number, Rocky?
Oh, it's low. It's probably 9.
And that's the most you've ever seen anybody?
Okay. And I'm at that point where like an hour's good for me. I'm not a concert goer. I love Pearl Jam. Seen them enough. Like I'm great.
Dunaway, how many times have you seen the Velcro Pygmies?
Oh my gosh, double digits easily.
Yeah, I'm double digits on those guys too.
That, the Cheese Brokers, Mel in the Party Hats. I've only seen Taylor Swift 3 times. I've only seen the Killers once.
That only set you back a year of retirement.
I've only seen the Killers once in the rain in
When
Piedmont
you
Park.
pissed yourself, right?
When I peed myself, yeah. It was worth it. It was worth it, LT. All right, that's our show today. And we appreciate you being part of us, part of the show. Joel Klatt, podcasting and videocast, wherever you get our podcast or videocast. Please go there and listen to Klatt's breakdown of where we are in college football. Congratulations to Michigan. They're the national champions.
Well deserved.
And I don't buy any of this asterisk talk either.
I don't either.
You're going to remember them as the champion.
Yeah, we're not big asterisk people,
Nah,
though, right?
Nah, I'm live and let live type guy.
Yeah, the only asterisk I throw out there is the
Barry Bonds,
the Astros.
Oh.
Yeah, you're very personal with you there. Rockstar, how much time is left in the show here? Our clock's a little off.
Yeah, my computer's frozen. We got 30 seconds.
Okay, so you're going to have to hum us out of here?
Okay, final 30 seconds. It all worked really good there at the end, didn't it? We're back with you at 9 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Can you pop the music up a little bit?
It's the world, it's the world, we're the world.
Until next
He
time.
wakes up in the morning.
Until next time. God bless you and God bless America. Sing us out, Rocky.
And if you know the thing, the week ends, the week begins. She thinks we look at each other.
Fade out.